10,000-foot view, not 30,000-foot view, but maybe a 10,000-foot view. So I think last night, maybe it's just not just because they lost 7-0, but it was the culmination of a series and a homestand, and I think today is the first day for me of, all right, now it's not about the individual games anymore.
No. You can't have any conversation about getting things going until you finally flip this script. Yeah. I mean, we can't talk about the AL wildcard standings. We can't talk about the rest of the American League. I know J.J. Cooper said yesterday in our conversation, I mean, they're not out of it because nobody in the American League other than the Rays and the Yankees are performing above maybe the expectations. And even the Yankees, I'm not sure that every Yankees fan would say, hey, we're overperforming because they're still behind the Tampa Bay Rays. This Royals team just has a lifeless feel to it. You get your ass kicked on Wednesday or Tuesday, 15-1. And you followed up with that last night, 7-0. I guess you could say it was competitive for 5 innings because it was 2-0. But at any point, did you feel the offense was going to get something going against Garrett Cole?
No.
It was only a matter of time until New York busted that thing open.
And that's, I mean, when you're not, it's similar in football as well and basketball. I mean, when your team isn't scoring, they look lifeless. And because, particularly when you're playing baseball, if you keep making outs, how do you show fire? You're going to run, you can't just steam around first and head to second if you struck out.
Yeah.
You have to, or if you ground out, you just have to make the turn back to the dugout. It's hard to show fire when you aren't. It's hard to show fire in the game of baseball anyway, even when you're successful. But it's really hard to show fire when you're not hitting. And so when a team isn't hitting, they always look lifeless. I'm not saying that's an excuse, but it is one of those things that when I look at a team and think they look lifeless, well, what's the score? Is it 3-0? Well, yeah, they're probably going to look lifeless because they're not on the field seemingly for half the game.
You'd be amazed at how many times a fan base will look at a 9-8 game where you didn't blow a 4-5 run lead far more favorably than losing 2-1.
They fought back.
They fought back.
They showed some heart.
It was a shootout. You're going back and forth. But, hey, you lose games like that. When you lose like you did last night, even if it was 4-0, as I said, lifeless. And this offseason, there was this focus from the analytical department of the Royals to bring the fences in. We're going to add more runs. A guy like Vinny Pasquantino can go from a 30 home run season to a 40 home run season. You can add 5 to 10 home runs to Michael Garcia's numbers. And what we've seen in 56 games is an offense that outside of maybe a few series here and there, they don't have a well-constructed lineup that plays off of power, slug, on base. Last year, there was this emphasis into we want to work the count. We want to do what the Yankees did to us in the ALDS of make a starter throw 90 pitches at the end of 5 innings, or maybe 90 pitches at the end of 4 innings where you're already having to go into the bullpen, but it just hasn't worked. And you can't win a championship when you're rolling the dice. And yes, a lot of baseball is just gambling, putting out your best lineup, putting out your best players. But to me, there has to be, at least now, maybe a look in the mirror moment and go, was the roster we assembled and the hitting philosophy we've tried to adapt to able to be successful here? Can you have this philosophy of, well, let's change the launch angle of some of these guys. Let's hit the ball hard. Let's barrel it up. And I would say the last 2 years, Kurtis, I have been in the side of, guys, you hit the ball hard and you don't bunt guys over. Like, look at some of those top offenses out there, the scary ones. They have a bunch of guys who can hit bombs. They have a high on base. They just barrel everything. The Yankees do that. Right? The Yankees have high on base guys. They hit for a ton of power. They hit the ball hard. But I think we can say this collectively. The Royals are not the Yankees, and they never will be the Yankees. The way the Yankees construct their lineup should not be the way the Royals construct their lineup. And in the American League East, there is a team that is very comparable on paper to the Royals, has been for years. And in my opinion, is why the Royals hired Matt Quatraro and Paul Hoover, because it is easier to manage a team where you're a bench coach. Matt Quatraro was the bench coach under Kevin Cash in Tampa. It's easier to take that guy and go, can you implement your strategies into this team and make it work? The Rays never spent money. They never had big crowds, so you're not getting revenue from that.
And they still don't, despite their record. They're third to the last in average attendance this year.
They
draw fewer people per game than the Royals.
Yeah. And I guess that's just being in St. Pete. I mean, it's a tough place to draw. Yeah. And I would say that Tampa Bay has always done an exceptional job of knowing who they are. They don't try to be other teams. They're in a division that includes New York, Boston, Baltimore, the reigning American League champs in Toronto. And not once have they said, well, we got to be them if we're going to win this division. Right? Baltimore kind of did that. Baltimore had this loaded draft class, tons of top 100 guys, and they said, we got to go and compete with Boston and New York. We have to beat them at their game. Well, Tampa, you'll see where I'm going with this. They have the best record in the American League. You look at some of the advanced numbers on them. They're bottom 5 in barrel rate. They're bottom 5 in hard hit rate. Every metric that would tell you if you have those numbers, your offense sucks, that's where they lack. Slug, OPS, home runs, all of that, they don't excel in it. But they have the best record in the American League. Why? Because their analytical department, we know Tampa has a phenomenal one. They've been a pitching factory for years. And for probably a decade plus, when you traded a struggling pitcher to Tampa Bay, you kind of clinch up a little bit and go, what do they see in that guy that we don't? And 9 times out of 10, they found something with that player. But the way they've constructed their offense is built on contact, speed, bunting guys over, putting pressure on the defense. Who does that remind you of? What team in Kansas City does that remind you of?
Sounds like 2015 Royals.
Exactly. And here's the misconception that a lot of people are going to probably fall for. It's, well, let's just change the philosophy for this Royals team into having the small ball approach. Well, I'm not sure it's a mid-season adjustment. This is something that would have to happen next offseason. But even after those 14 and 15 teams, the Royals tried the small ball approach. It did not equate to a bunch of victories. They missed the postseason in 16. They missed it in 17. They were back to losing 100-plus games in 18, 19. Then you had the COVID year. They still tried to have this approach of don't strike out, put the ball in play, bunt guys over, put pressure on the defense. But that doesn't work if you don't have good players. If you don't have good players that can still hit 285 and do that, and the way Tampa does, and then have a couple of crushers in there like Jonathan Aranda and Yandy Diaz, then it doesn't work. But they have someone like Chandler Simpson, arguably the fastest player in the sport. He can hit well over 340, 350. And what they tell him is, don't ever try to launch the ball. You're so fast that if you hit the ball to the opposite field on the ground, the chances of a shortstop making that play are slim to none. You keep the ball on the ground, that is going to increase your chances of getting a hit. When we have guys on, it's first and second, second and third, it's just about putting bat to ball. It's simple, it's old school. A lot of people like that approach. And for the Royals, that's where you may need to look in the mirror and go, maybe our philosophy of trying to catch up to this sport and saying home runs win you championships, home runs win you divisions, it might need to be a shift back into what you were, going back to your roots. Because that was winning baseball for the Royals. The 14 and 15 teams had good players, though. Like Lorenzo Cain, great player. Alex Gordon, great player. Eric Hosmer, great player. And then you had a bunch of guys that just also filled out the lineup that were great at what they did. This Royals team is led by a superstar talent in Bobby Witt Jr. And they've got good players around them. But the Royals should have never built their team to mirror what the top payroll teams are doing. I know that when you're asking those questions, how do you want your offense to look? Everybody's attracted to hard hit balls to home runs, and you do that more often than not, you square a ball up, they always tell you you'll be rewarded for it. But we're not seeing the Royals be rewarded for it. We didn't last year. We haven't this year. And I think seeing a team like Tampa Bay have this work effectively, you have to think about it. Because I don't blame the Royals the last couple of years of going, why would we go back to small ball when nobody in the sport is doing it and the ones that are not winning? There is nothing stopping the Royals from being the Rays or the Brewers, right? That we've always had that belief. You cannot look at those teams and say, that's just impossible. They can't look at the Dodgers and say, we want to be like them, or the Yankees, or the Phillies, or the Mets. Those high payroll teams, you probably will never see the Royals be in that category. They'll probably never be a team like Boston. But you can still be a consistent winning team, one that wins this division, if you just embrace who you are. And you've got the philosophy of what makes us great is speed, defense, pitching. And we've said that before of the 2024 team. They were not great because of their offense. They were great because starting rotation was good, their defense was good, they had the speed. It wasn't quite 14 and 15, and also we can acknowledge this. They had arguably the best three relievers in the American League pitching every single night. So when I've said before, don't get yourself in a bunch of one-run games, well, those Royals teams could. It was like, okay, we got 5 out of Jason Vargas, we got 6 out of Guthrie, HDH. Mix in Ryan Madsen, mix in Luke Hochevar. That's what they had to do. This Royals team doesn't do that. And guess what Tampa Bay has done against New York this year? They've hung with them. They've beaten them. You know what the Royals haven't done? Even come close to? Taking a series from New York. And that's why I look at this lineup top to bottom. I go, I'm not telling Bobby Witt Jr. how to change his swing. That's a superstar, right? You don't need to tell him how to hit a baseball. Whether this Royals team wins 90 games or loses 90 games, he's going to put up numbers. It's like Mike Trout did for years with the Angels and bad Angels teams, as long as he was healthy, of course. Like, why are we needing to tell Michael Massey or Kyle Isbell or Isaac Collins or Nick Lofton or Maikel Garcia, hit the ball hard, elevate a little bit? Yeah, I get that the result, the best case scenario is good. You hit the ball out of the yard. You have a bunch of home runs. You brought the fences in, so a couple of those warning track balls you're now rewarded for. But has anybody this year really noticed that big of a difference? I haven't. And maybe it's because this team as a whole is in a tremendous slump.
And the guys you would expect those home runs from have not delivered. I mean, if Vinny Pasquantino was feeling it the way he was a year ago, was this year, would those numbers be up? It's possible.
Maybe. I don't know if there is this extra pressure of the fences are in. I was paid to hit more home runs, and I'm not inside the mind of the hitter.
Yeah.
But when we watch Maikel Garcia swing the bat, what's your favorite hit of his? To me, it's the outside pitch, guides it right through the 3-4 hole. That's my favorite. When he just has that one hopper to the right side, it's almost always to lead off the game when he's going well. I mean, that is his best swing. His best swing is not gapping one to left center. It's just not. To me, when I watch Maikel Garcia swing, that is his best one. Kyle Isbell, it's that 5-6 hole line drive or right over shortstop. Yes, I'm bringing up a lot of opposite field contact, and it's much easier for me to say that and actually go out there and do it. I'm sure a lot of these guys want to have that approach, but I don't know what the philosophy. Clearly, it's not working because you would see the numbers be better across the board if it was. You bring in Connor Dawson, who was in Milwaukee, a team that, like I said, never spends but gets the most out of guys. Isaac Collins, believe this or not, was top 5 in Rookie of the Year voting in the National League. He's hitting .215 for the Royals. So why does that happen? Right? Why do you see these regressions for players? Why do they bring in certain guys and the numbers just don't translate? I got it for Jonathan India because he's coming from Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati, where the Royals will be next week. It's a trampoline park. You can hit 20 bombs there if you have no power. But in Kansas City, that's not going to work. And here's another thing. There's two instances that come to mind. Carlos Santana, we remember him being a Royal killer for years, both in Cleveland and Minnesota. He comes to Kansas City. Yes, it was toward the end of his career, but what did he stop doing? He stopped being a good offensive threat.
Yeah.
He didn't walk anymore. He was and he still had, I believe, a season in Kansas City where he had the most walks. But it still was not.
That was more about the history of the team than it was the season.
Absolutely. But that was not typical Carlos Santana, who the Royals saw for a decade plus. Like, Andrew Benintendi, they did get the most out of him because he comes from Boston after the COVID year. It was a down year. He was hurt. They got a lot out of him. He was an all-star. It was more about the team, but he still had a pretty good year. But few times have you seen them bring in somebody, and all of a sudden they get the most out of him. It used to be the pitchers. You bring in somebody that maybe another team was overlooking, and they get great production out of them. But this is about the offense to me. And now that you see a team like Tampa Bay go, we're not going to try to do this outslug the Yankees anymore or outslug Toronto. And it's not a perfect science. Look, Toronto last year had a bunch of power bats, and they slugged their way to the World Series. They couldn't get past the Dodgers, but they were damn close. The Rays have not reached the mountaintop. They were in the World Series in 2020, the COVID year, the strange year. But I can really appreciate, and it's probably why Kevin Cash has been there and was there for a long, long time. They have not ever really panicked and said, well, it's not working. I mean, you can adapt, but you can see how they're trying to adapt. Everybody else is zigging, and they're going to zag because they know they're not going to outpay somebody for a free agent. They have to draft and develop and get Rule 5 guys and find those hidden pieces. But they have the best record in the American League in a division that almost always is the bloodiest. And I'm just saying the Royals might need, depending how the season goes, if they turn it around, then you can clip this. It's an absolute moot point. I'm glad they stuck to the process because they eventually turned things around. But 2023, 2024, 2025, 2026, as a collective whole, we have not, other than a few months and a few stretches here and there, said that's a really good offense. Right? Second half of last year, the offense was good. But it was a little too late at that point because the offense was so poor in the first half.
In the beginning, they were setting records and mileposts for consecutive games, not scoring 4 runs or 3 runs or whatever it was.
And they're 28th in runs right now.
Yeah.
And even if the second half looks good, and it's like, well, we stuck with it. We stuck with the process. That's how we're improving now. It's all right to say it ain't working anymore. This is not who we are. And if the small ball approach doesn't work, well, then I guess you got to find a way how to figure things out here. But I just have never understood why you can see the Milwaukee Brewers, who have the pitching lab. They get the most out of all those pitchers they bring in. They have an offense that does have good players. That's kind of what I'm not trying. I'm not trying to say that Milwaukee and Tampa Bay have a bunch of guys that can never play. They're all AAA guys. They have good players on there, but they also coach up a lot of these other guys. They get the most, even if it's for 1 year, out of somebody, and they're not making a lot of money. But yet they can go be the 1 seed in the National League. The Rays can be above the Yankees at this point. I mean, just look at these last 3 games and what New York did to them.
Yeah.
And this Tampa Bay team is ahead of them. And they have competed against them, playing their style of ball. I am somebody that likes to take both sides of it, of analytics and old school. You can't have one without the other. You can't be this super analytical, computer-driven guy that's never played the sport and say, well, I know how it works. Well, no, because there's old school guys, and even the old school guys now might be 2 years removed from the sport. They've played it. They also know what it takes to be a winner and a champion. And you bring that together, you get a little bit of both. And Tampa, for years, was kind of seen as this computer-driven team, doesn't spend any money. They're looking where nobody else is, like the modern-day Moneyball A's. But they didn't have Barry Zito and Miguel Tejada and Eric Chavez. They have Yandy Diaz and Jonathan Aranda and Chandler Simpson and a couple other great pieces and a good rotation and a good bullpen, and they bring consistency. That's what Kansas City needs to get. It's consistency. It can't be slow start in April. You climb back into it. Terrible June. Really good July. Because, yes, you might find a way to get back to the postseason, but it's not the recipe of, oh, this team can make a deep run. And maybe Tampa falls out of it. Like, we are in late May, May 28th, May 29th. It could look totally different in July. Yeah. But it'd be pretty good to be, 14, 15 games over 500 right now?
Sure. At this point, the Tampa is one of those teams that, like, wow, they're really amazing, but they don't have a flag.
Yeah. I mean, you can criticize that too.
But they are in the running for a flag. Would you take that? I mean, you can't always win it. Would you minimize the odds of winning a World Series by greatly increasing your odds of playing for one?
It's what Cleveland has probably contemplated for so long.
October.
It's like you give yourself 10 opportunities. You might go 0-10, but you're there 10 times.
Yeah. I do think there has to be some attention to the home run. I don't think you want to just...
You can't just abandon that,
because, I've been looking at the numbers. When teams hit at least one home run in a game this year, their winning percentage is .597. When they don't, it's .336. Now, that's a difference of 261 points. The Royals are about the major league average in that. They're actually a little bit less affected by not hitting a home run than most teams. 500 when they do, 250 when they don't. So you do have to hit the ball over the fence. But I want to see the complete run up of the numbers when the season's over and see. Is there a way that you can combine those two? Is there a way that you can, if you got power hitters, let them be who they are, and if you don't, let those guys play whatever? Can you combine the two strategies to some extent? Because if you take guys who can hit the ball over the fence and you ask them to play the type of game they're not really geared for, then I don't think you're going to be a success. It almost seemed like you would have to design your entire roster to do that, which may be the case. And if you're not going to be able to get a lot of guys who can hit the ball over the fence, that might be, and the Rays certainly are that type of a team. But I wonder if that would force a team to just abandon even pursuing, even in the draft, guys who are someone like Jack Caglione. If the Rays are going to run that philosophy and be successful and say this is going to be our identity, they probably don't draft someone like Jack Caglione. Is that eventually a problem for an organization? They've had great success of it now, and they've proven the ability to find the area where they can change and be different. You just said zig when others are zagging. But how much do you have to commit your organization to that? And is that something that you can take a little bit of this and a little bit of that and make it work?
Maybe it is. I mean, Jack Caglione is a prolific power threat. How many home runs has he got? Right, 5?
Hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, so I just have to wonder, is it player-based? Is it coaching, right? And that's... Everybody's got their own opinions on it. I just thought that was interesting.
I think it's fascinating.
The Rays are going back to the old school ways of they don't care if they hit 12 singles in a game and don't have any home runs because they're winning a lot of games right now.
And there they are on top of the division, and you have every reason to believe that when the season's over, they're going to be right there at the top. They're going to be playing postseason baseball in Tampa in front of small crowds.
Yes.
But they're going to be there, and it's because they continually find ways to kind of cheat the game. The line from the Moneyball, when he's sitting around with the scouts, if we try to play like the Yankees here, we're going to lose to them out there. The Rays have seen that. I mean, it's weird that the A's were known for it, but the Rays have really been the team that have put it into actual action and been greatly successful for it. And as you mentioned, they're doing it again. And Matt Quatraro said last night, we have to evaluate everything. So it'll be interesting to see how much of he said everything. Examine the things that we do and see if that's what's best for us. Well, this is the time, as I said, this is the time where the games, individual games, and the things that happen in the games don't matter. It's can you find a new way to play with these players until things change, or do you just continue to say this is what this roster is built to do? We have to keep doing this and hope that these guys come around. If that's the case and they don't come around, a lot of people are going to be looking for work, and there are a considerable army of fans and observers who think that should have already started. Now, who that would claim, I don't know, but the direction they're going right now is not sustainable. So either the guys have to start playing better or they have to start changing what they're doing. And the first option or the second option is one you can immediately affect change. The other one you just kind of have to wait and hope they come around. But I'm glad it's not my problem, because it's been one of the more perplexing ones all season. And people will say, well, just make a change. Anybody. Well, it can't be anybody. Like the lineup. Well, this guy shouldn't be hitting third. Who should you put in there? Anybody. Well, you can't just put anybody on the You have to make a decision. So the next couple of months of this franchise and how is going to, I think, is going to dictate what happens. The next 4 months for this baseball team is going to dictate what they are the next 5 years, I think.
Royals are off today. They'll be in Arlington to begin a 10-game road trip beginning on Friday night. Take a quick break, come back, talk some Kansas baseball with Gabriel Steigers. That's next in the program. We're back here on the program on Sports Radio 810 WHB. I am your host, Jack Johnson, filling in for Seren Petro. Curtis Seaboldt here, Kyle Collier producing this thing. Big weekend in Lawrence. The Jayhawks will be hosting their first regional. It includes Arkansas as the 2 seed, Missouri State as the 3 seed, and Northeastern, actually rated the number 1 4th seed among all of the regionals. They will be taking on Kansas tomorrow for a first pitch of 12 noon. And we're going to talk more about it with Gabriel Steigers, one of the play-by-play guys for Kansas baseball. First things first, Gabriel, how are we doing this afternoon?
Jack, I'm good. It's really good to hear from you, man. We got to talk a little bit about mid-season when we were around Wichita. You were with the Wichita station, and it'll be good to catch up. We've come a long way since then. Certainly,
and I guess back then it was when Kansas really started to take off, went on the ridiculous stretch, winning 27 of 30. It rewarded them, when it was all said and done, of putting themselves in a great position to win the Big 12 in the regular season, their first conference title since the 1940s, all the way back when it was the Big 7, and then they go on to surprise and win the Big 12 tournament, and now is when it all matters. This is what everybody's been waiting for probably the better part of a month. They will send their ace to the bump and Dominic Vagley. I want to ask you if you think that's the right move from Dan Fitzgerald, because as we know, if they win that game tomorrow, you're either lined up to play Arkansas, one of the more storied baseball programs in the country, or Missouri State, who has over 100 team home runs this season. Mason Cook's been very, very good. I thought maybe they could have gone Cook for Game 1, save Vagley for Game 2, but I guess it's just not the way that Dan Fitzgerald operates, right?
I think it is the right choice. Dom, he got off to a rougher start this year, but down the stretch, he's been absolutely phenomenal. A couple games where he struck out 15 batters. It seems like every start he's over 10 Ks now. He's just been unbelievable down the stretch, and I think the main reason they went with him is because he's a veteran guy. He's been doing this for 3 years now. He was a Saturday starter as a freshman, a couple years ago. He pitched in the regional last year, even though Kansas lost both of those games. He got the Game 1 start that time. So I completely agree with the move. I think the other part of it is Vagley's been doing this long enough. Northeastern leads the entire Division I circuit in stolen bases. I think they've stolen 209 this year. I'm pretty sure that's the number. And Vagley's been doing this for long enough. He's really good at controlling the run game, looking down runners over his right shoulder. And I think he's going to do his best to try and limit those stolen bases and bring the strikeouts.
And when you look at the regional as a whole, I mean, Kansas understands that when you are playing playoff baseball, you're getting good teams regardless. But do you sense some sense of being overlooked, that they fall all the way to the 15 seed, which lines them up to potentially play the top offense in the country in Georgia Tech and the Supers if they get there? I mean, I'm sure there were a lot of people that thought Kansas was more in that 12 to 13 range, but here they are all the way down at 15. Do you think it matters that much to them, a little extra motivation? Where do you see it playing out?
It's tough. The Big 12 has not gotten a ton of respect amongst the selection committee for the past few seasons. And like you said, there's definitely an argument that Kansas could have been a bit higher. I mean, Nebraska, who's seated above them, Kansas was 2-0 against them this year. They swept that season series. So there's definitely an argument that they could have at least replaced the Huskers. But that's the draw they got, and we're just lucky to be hosting, man. I mean, that's something that's never happened in the program's history. And so I'm not sure anyone is too up in arms about it. But at the end of the day, you did draw. I mean, it's a tough regional. You got Arkansas, who had an argument to host themselves, and then, like you said, if you move on, you more than likely get Georgia Tech. So the mentality around this team, it could be Game 1 of the season, or it could be, finals of the College World Series. All they're worried about is the day and that game ahead of them. So I'm sure it's in the back of someone's mind, but it's definitely not in the back of Dan Fitzgerald's mind. He's just worried about today, beating Northeastern, and then going on to beat the winner of whoever, the later game on Friday, 5 p.m. So we're at noon against Northeastern, and then Arkansas and Missouri State are going to do battle at 5 p.m. a little after. Hopefully there's some bad weather rolling in. Hopefully that doesn't affect the play, but the structure of it is essentially the two winners play each other and the two losers play each other on Game 2, that double elimination, like you said. So if you lose 2 games, you're done.
We're talking with one of the KU play-by-play men, Gabriel Steigers, here on the program, Sports Radio 810 WHB. Brady Ballinger was not playing in surprise for the Big 12 tournament. It was Savion Flowers that saved the day in their first game against Baylor, had a really good 3-day stretch, but now it appears that they are going to get one of their top bats back. Do you expect him being full 100%, or do you see him maybe only being at 80 to 85, and it's just it's postseason ball, man. It's do or die at this point.
We heard today at the press conference this morning that he's progressing well, but nothing concrete there. Missing the Big 12 tournament was, I think, more precautionary than anything, and you gave a guy like Savion Flowers, like you said, a shot to do some – he did some damage, more than a shot. I mean, it was a walk-off home run against Baylor, and he continued to hit. He knocked in a run in the semifinals. Another guy to keep your eye on is Max Solis Jr., who actually got that start in left field against Baylor, who was later removed for Flowers. That was just a matchups thing, though. Solis is a 2-year Jayhawk. He's been in this situation before. He could also factor in if Brady's not ready to go, but I would anticipate that Ballinger is at least in the lineup.
I want to get your thoughts on the bullpen here and how maybe you manage it in game one. And it's so tough in a regional because you understand that losing that first game, now you're already up against it. You're in the loser's bracket. You got to win out the rest of the way or your season's done. Let's say you're in that situation, maybe the 8th inning. It's a 1-run game. We all know Bodie Ray is the guy that Dan Fitzgerald loves to go to. He had that 9-out save in Game 1 in Provo against BYU. Then he goes out there and pitches the next night, and it just seems to have a rubber arm. He can throw as many pitches as you need him to, but in the regional, you want your closer to be at his best. Do you see them turning to Ritter? Do you see them turning to Scheidt? I mean, they are a bullpen that have a bunch of guys out there, but when it's all said and done, they want to turn to Ray. It feels like in the regular season, Fitzgerald really favored in going to Bodie Ray regardless of the opponent, but you also understand that there is a next day, and you want him to be fresh. So how do you see maybe a situation like that playing out if Kansas is in a 1-run game and Bodie Ray is, of course, available tomorrow?
Well, here's the thing about Bodie. He got a couple starts this year. That was in about late March. He was a starter at Kirkwood Community College, where he spent a couple years before coming here to Kansas. So he's got experience. He threw up to about 90 pitches this season. So like you said, he's got something of a rubber arm. So I would not be surprised if he got used 2-3 games in a row. But if he's not an option, or if you want to keep him a little extra fresh, Ryan Ritter, I believe, leads the entire conference, at least as far as the Big 12 is concerned, in appearances out of the bullpen. In fact, he's totaled enough innings that he's on the leaderboards with the starters. So if you didn't know who he was and you were looking at the leaderboards, you'd say, man, that guy's a weekend starter. Well, he's not. He just comes out of the bullpen. They use him a ton. And a lot of it is multi-inning work. So what I would expect to see is Ritter first out of the pen. And if he looks good, they'll just let it ride with Ryan Ritter. The thing about him, though, is that he's either on or he's off. And he's on a lot more than he's off, but when he's off, he tends to get hit in bunches. So if that starts to happen, Toby Scheidt is something of a fireman. He comes in a lot. He inherits a lot of runners. And so I would not be surprised at all if it went Ritter, Scheidt, Ray. But if Ritter looks good, he might just ride out those back 3 innings of the game, especially if it's not a save situation. If the team is up a lot, they'll just let it ride, like I said. You also have a guy like Manning West back there who is super underrated, in my opinion. He has a great cutter from a big right-handed kind of 3/4 arm slot that actually really favors well against left-hand hitting. It just kind of bores in on the hand. So if there's a tough lefty or a string of them coming up, I wouldn't be shocked to see Manning West out there at all either.
Last couple questions for you, Gabriel. Really appreciate your time. Kansas Northeastern tomorrow, a first pitch of noon to kick off the Lawrence Regional. This offense has a lot of heavy hitters. We know that the star of this offense, Tyson LeBlanc, over at shortstop. Of course, you can look at Tyson Owens. You can look at Jordan Bach. Cade Baldridge has had a couple of good stretches as well. But to me, I kind of see a guy like Josh Dykoff being the X factor for this entire weekend. He had the big 3-run shot against West Virginia in the Big 12 championship. We know all about the power. And really, I thought in the last 20 games of the season, he really emerged as a top 3 bat in the lineup. I see him as the X factor. Would you agree with that statement, or do you see somebody else in this starting 9 that could have a really, really big weekend to get Kansas to the Supers?
Well, first of all, with Dykhoff, for a lot of the year, he was batting eighth. He was a really, well-rounded bat, but the numbers were good, not great. And then, like you said, down the stretch that last month, he was incredible enough to earn him all Big 12 second-team honors. And that came from he quite literally moved his front foot in and stood really tall in the batter's box, added a big leg kick, and that just helped his timing. All it was timing. And so now that he's on time with every pitch, you've seen the results. But 1 through 9, I think these guys, a lot of them, and I know these guys, at least a lot of them, haven't been in this situation before. Ballinger was around, Osorio was around last year for the regional, but all the other guys are D2 or JUCO products. And so they haven't played under these lights before, but I'm sure they're going to be ready for the challenge. And a guy to keep your eye on, aside from Dykhoff, I think is Jordan Bach. He was a big part of that Big 12 final game to help secure the conference tournament championship. He was hitting leadoff for a lot of the year. He got bumped down in the lineup just to kind of shake things up. Doesn't say anything bad about who he is. But he was the best hitter on the team to start the year, and then he fell back a little bit, and he's been really consistent more recently. I think he's going to stay in that 5 or 6 hole in the lineup, but as a left-hand bat playing right field, he contributes on offense, he contributes on defense. He's top 3 on the team in steals. He's going to be all over the field, and he's a graduate student, a fifth-year guy, so he brings a lot of experience. So watch for him off the field, leading the guys, pumping him up, and watch for a big Jordan Bach moment in Lawrence Regional.
Going back to Northeastern, I know you bring up that they are the number 1 team in the country in stealing bases. What's more important tomorrow? Is it going to be holding runners, or is it going to be Augusto Mungarieta finding a way to really throw out maybe 2 or 3 guys that are trying to swipe second or swipe third? Is this more on the pitcher tomorrow, or is this going to be more on the man behind the plate in Mungarieta?
Well, if you talk to any baseball guy, they'll tell you that a base is stolen off the pitcher. It's not stolen off the catcher. All the catcher is doing is trying to compensate for the jump that the runner got by making a good throw. But if as a base runner, you're counting how long the pitcher waits before he lifts his leg and throws, and you get a good jump, like I said, that means you're stealing off the pitcher. So it is on Dominic Vagley to mix up his looks and control the running game. But ultimately, if you're not allowing base runners, no one can steal. You have to be on first base to steal second, right? So Vagley, I mentioned earlier, he really likes to rack up the strikeouts. If he can keep the ball from being put in play at all, strike 1, strike 2, strike 3, like I said, no one's going to be on first base to steal second. So I think that's what it comes down to, is keeping them off base. Because once they're on, it's really inevitable that they're going to run, and then it comes down to if Mungarieta can gun him down at second or third. But he's so good. He's got an incredible arm. We talked to him this morning at the press conference, and he sounded very confident and ready to try and cut some of these guys down.
And lastly, we know all about the increased capacity, the backyard and left field, the tickets being sold out a minute or two into tickets going on sale. For those heading out to the game tomorrow, I know weather could be a little bit shaky, might see some showers, but what atmosphere should you expect going for the noon game, going to the 5 o'clock game, and all weekend long, as Lawrence is really in a historic spot for their baseball program?
Well, like I mentioned earlier, Lawrence has never hosted a regional before. It's their 7th regional all time, but they've never done it at home. And so there are a lot of things, Arkansas fans, if you were on social media at all, they were like, well, why did this team get to host? It's a small ballpark. Well, 2,500 was the original capacity. That's up to 4,000 now with the added backyard and standing room only sections, like you said. I expect every part of the ballpark to be completely packed. Tickets sold out almost immediately as they went on sale yesterday. A lot of tickets are being given to students who are going to bring a ton of the energy like they have all year. I would expect every game, even the ones that the Jayhawks aren't playing in, it's going to be an absolute madhouse, because Fayetteville isn't, it's a decent drive, but it's drivable here to Lawrence, so you're going to have a lot of Razorback fans here as well. There's room for RVs. There's room for people to tailgate. It's going to be a party in Lawrence, even more than it already is every weekend. It's going to be a bigger party in Lawrence this time around. And what's even cooler about it, the Big 12 championship game in the back end of the Big 12 tournament, if you can't make it, well, those games are going to be right here on 8/10 all weekend. So, it's going to be great, but if you can't make it, tune in right here.
All right. Well, Gabriel, appreciate your time as always. Enjoy the weekend, and let's hope to see the Jayhawks in the Supers.
Thank you so much, Jack. It's good to talk to you. It's been a fun year, and there's a lot more coming.
There he goes. That's Gabriel Steigers, one of the play-by-play guys for Kansas baseball. Jayhawks and Northeastern, a first pitch of noon tomorrow. After that, it'll be Arkansas and Missouri State at 5 p.m. Kansas wins that game, which you want to advance to the Supers. You probably don't want to lose game number 1 against the 4 seed in your region, even as good as Northeastern is, because that'll just put you on the brink the rest of the way. But if they do win that game, you can expect them to play Saturday night against likely Arkansas, though Missouri State did beat the Razorbacks in Fayetteville earlier this year, so that should be a fun one as well. Lawrence should be rocking all weekend long, and as I said, first pitch tomorrow, KU Northeastern. Dominic Vagley, the ace of the Jayhawks, on the mound for KU. We'll take a quick break, come back, wrap up hour number 1 of the program. Wrapping up hour number 1 of the program on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Missed any part of our interview with Gabriel Steigers, one of the play-by-play men for Kansas baseball.
Pitch man for 810 WHB.
There you go.
Unsolicited promo.
We love that.
Nice
we talked
work.
about that
Yeah.
off air. But the Jayhawks will be beginning the Lawrence Regional tomorrow. A noon first pitch against Northeastern. Mo State and Arkansas will be at 5 p.m. College baseball, the postseason, starting this weekend. Yep, a lot of aluminum bats. Who's going to get to Omaha? I know for the Jayhawk fans listening, you're hoping it's them. Would be their first since 1993, I believe it is. But long ways to go. You got to win this one, then you got to go win the Supers. Then you can be one of those teams in the College World Series. Coming up next, we got a couple games to play right here on the program.
All right, how many pitchers since 1901 have had a single calendar month with 40 or more strikeouts and no runs allowed? Brought to you by Twin Peaks.
We're on to hour number 2 of the program on Sports Radio 810 WHB. I'm your host today, Jack Johnson. Kurtis Seaboldt's here. Kyle Collier producing. And joined in studio by the great Pete.
The legend.
Anybody called you that, Great Pete?
No. And it wasn't Peter the Great either. No, neither one of those. No, sir. I was just talking. We were just talking off the air. It's been. I just started doing this in '74 over at WDAF right before the Golden Beacon, David Lawrence, and working for a guy named Dick Carlson, who was the voice of
he was
voice of the Kings and the voice of the Chiefs at one time.
He was also the voice. He wasn't the voice at Arrowhead. I guess he was the voice of the Chiefs.
Yeah, he was, and very knowledgeable guy. But I'll tell you, you're working with in Absentia right now with Seren, but you're working with two of the very best.
Oh yeah,
Carlson had the gig, and then it was not Wayne Larrivee.
Yeah, right.
Then Larrivee went to Green Bay, and
then the
Kevin
Chicago,
Harlan took over.
Right. There were
some good voices in that booth.
Oh yeah, there were some very good voices, and I went from there over to BZ with Don Burley, and did that show for some
Legend.
time, and a classic. So I mean, really Kansas City, but I think Kansas City right now, as far as sports talk go with you guys, I think it's the best in the country. I might be a little prejudiced, but I think you guys that do this show are the best.
No, I think
it's
accurate. I think it's accurate.
Too kind.
Well, I think it's I think you know me well enough, Curtis. I don't think I'd say that really.
No.
Unless I meant it, and I mean it. You guys are damn good at what you do.
Thank you.
So, and this young man right here is
pretty good.
He's on his way. So he's
Pretty
on
good.
his way. Yes, he is.
You guys are too kind.
The next
You're
generation.
Choked
Well,
up.
you're learning from the best, and you're going to be the best. So
Someday you'll be in that spot, and you'll be talking about some other young.
yeah.
I hope so.
Youngster.
Fingers
Sure you
crossed.
will. Oh yeah, you'll make it in this business. You're in a good time right now, because I think if I got in the business now, as I did in '73 in Denver, if I got in this business now, I wouldn't make it. I would not make it in this business. Too much technology. You guys, I mean, the knowledge is just. Of course, I don't study anymore. But I mean,
if you were the age you were then, now you'd adapt.
well, I don't know, but I mean, it'd be.
You would have adapted.
But you got me, like I said, Kansas City Sports Talk is in very, very good shape, and I think Jason Anderson does a nice job. So I think this station right here is in pretty good stead.
Yep.
I think it's in pretty darn good.
Well, another guy we got to give some praise to is I can hear him on
And
the other end of the phone.
Kyle's good,
Kyle
too.
is phenomenal, and
Kyle-
Todd Lebo.
Kyle and Todd. Kyle's going to be in this. He's going to be on the side of the booth someday. He's good because he does a nice job on that
Just
show.
tune in on Wednesday nights. He gets over there.
Hey, man,
I heard him
that's
last
right.
night.
He's
driving
good.
home.
And of course, I always
stuff.
told Todd that he was national in scope, as were Serena and Kurtis. They were national. They weren't really local. And Todd was the same way. Todd's really good at everything he does, which is a lot. So, but Kyle,
I'm interstate right now. I'm on Interstate 435, driving back after waiting around for 5 hours at the Chiefs. So,
oh God, you mean you heard me brag about you?
How cheap
I
for
love
that?
the Chiefs.
Oh, for God's
We're gonna have
sake.
some guys at 1, then we'll have some guys about an hour and a half later,
Yeah,
And we'll just go from
we got
there.
him done now.
or half.
But,
all
but-
good.
but, yeah.
Was it worth it?
Yeah, not bad. We got some George Karlaftis and
Nice.
Tranquil. They're both
Very,
very
good. Those guys are both good.
Well, they're
Very
due
good.
for a comeback this year, Todd.
Yeah, they better.
And I think they're up for it. Number 15, everybody says, well, he might be. No, he is not done. No, 15 minus 20% at 80% is still pretty damn good, and he's good in the National Football League.
Yeah.
So I ain't betting against the Chiefs. I'm sorry, ain't gonna happen.
No, I don't think many people in this town would. Well, Kyle, I know this is your segment. There can be only one. Finally said it correctly. I'm going to swing it to you. Let's get this thing started.
All right, guys. Jack, we'll start with you. Question number 1: who wins the Stanley Cup? Vegas, Carolina, Montreal.
I'm going to go with Vegas. Why not? Because they're a team that they won their first year in the NHL, and since then I've always been drawn to them. And why not? Why not? I'm going to go with
And
Vegas.
They got the 4-0 sweep over Colorado.
Yeah.
So strong choice.
Dominance.
Pete, who you got?
I have been a Montreal fan since the great Pocket Rocket played for them and Clyde Lemieux. I will take Montreal.
All right, I am going to
Come
take
back.
Vegas as well. I think Jack's on the right train of thought there. K-Dog?
In a Stanley Cup final that I will probably not watch more than 30 seconds of because I'm so tired of warm weather teams playing. I think Carolina is going to do it. I think they've got the pedigree and I'll be rooting like hell for Montreal the way I did in this series, the way I did for Edmonton the last 2 years in the final. But it doesn't ever seem to work that way.
I'd like
so
to see a Canadian team win it.
yeah, I would
Just
love
for
to.
once.
Haven't had one since '93.
In a while.
And but they're not going to have one this year, I don't think. So I think it's going to be Carolina.
Lebo?
Well, I want it to be Montreal as well, but my hockey friends tell me the West is too strong, so it's Vegas.
3 for Vegas then.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm
3
not
for
rooting
Vegas,
for
1
them,
for Carolina, 1 Montreal.
This doesn't sound right. Vegas.
As a hockey team.
No,
Vegas-
neither is Carolina.
And they never went through
They're all
any
very
suffering. Immediately won.
Yeah, like the Diamondbacks.
And they're good. I mean,
They're
Vegas
very
is
good.
very good.
You know, that historic Golden Knights Hurricanes. You know, just
Yeah, it just doesn't
like-
sound right.
Sure doesn't sound like
Long-standing rivalry between Las
It
Vegas.
sounds a lot better when you say
sound
Jean
like-
Beliveau.
yeah. Sure didn't sound like Bruins and
Yeah.
Flyers or whatever. Anyway,
All
But
right.
none of them will ever touch the Montreal Canadiens
Oh, no.
of the 60s. No, it ain't going to happen.
All right, Pete, have you watched much NBA this year?
No.
Okay, well, question number 2, we're going to lead off with you, Pete.
Okay.
It'll be the Knicks versus who in the NBA Finals?
It's going to be Oklahoma City, but it'd take a hell of a storm for me to watch either one. I don't. I'm kind of like Bobby Knight. I'd rather watch 2 frogs make love in the NBA. So
Wow.
that's it.
With the same logic as Pete, I'm gonna go with San Antonio, actually, just to be a little bit different here, because I have a feeling OKC is gonna be all over these answers.
I'm gonna say Oklahoma City. I would like to see the Spurs win it because I've seen enough flopping for one season. By the way, I was just walking in earlier, and SJ was in the hallway. I walked past him, he fell down.
Of course.
It was the craziest
Looking
thing I
for
ever
it. He
saw.
was
Yeah.
waiting
He
for
just
you
went,
to come
boom,
down
and I
the
went,
hall.
Why are you even here? I'll be rooting like hell for the Knicks in the finals, though. I've liked that team for about 30 years, and they're a buzzsaw right now. But I'll say they'll play the Thunder.
I think with as rabid as the New York fans have been all postseason long, if Oklahoma City gets there, that is going to be some chaotic environments at Madison Square Garden. I am going to go with Oklahoma City. You watch that game 5, it would have been. I'm not into the conspiracy stuff. I do believe that officials, they're not getting paid off to make some of these calls, but that was about as fishy as I've seen of actively looking for guys to run into and then fall down and draw the foul. I'm not sure. The Spurs, too, have been a little bit hot-headed about it, where I think it may cost them and getting a couple flagrants, couple technical fouls. OKC shoots a lot of free throws. I got the Thunder moving on to play New York.
I just don't think the Spurs can beat them twice in a row.
They've got maybe one of the most generational freaks of nature of all time in any sport, and I just don't know if it's going to be enough to get
I
past
hope that
OKC.
he holds up, though, because I don't like his build.
He looked pretty rough the other night.
Todd, who you got?
Yeah, I just don't think it. I don't see a world where the Thunder can lose twice in a row. So they may lose tonight, but I think they'll lose or win the next one if that's the case. I think they'll probably actually just win this thing in 6, and that'll be what happens. And I don't think the Knicks are going to beat them either. So just get used to it.
All right, there you have it. Everybody's on OKC except for me. All right, question number 3.
Good luck, Kyle.
I'm going to lead this one off. We're going to stick in the NBA here. Which player in this year's NBA draft class makes the most All-Star games?
Ooh.
I'm going to go total homer. Give me Darren Peterson. Curtis?
I'm gonna say. Let me look at this real quick. I have to refresh my memory. Who's at the top? I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Darius Acuff.
Wow.
I'll counter and just give a third different option here with A.J. DeBonsa. I think that his build is going to play really well at the NBA level. you also got to factor in it's hard to be starting all-star in the NBA, and he's at 6'10", moves like a wing, incredibly athletic. I think he's a guy that can stuff the box score at the end of the day. To have three different answers, I'll go with the Bonza.
Pete, who you got?
I'm going to take the illegitimate son of Roy Acuff.
I don't think they're related.
Oh, think so?
They might be.
Seems unlikely.
Yeah, well, as long as he doesn't sing. Yeah, what's that song K-State has? And I'm a
Wabash
K-State man.
Cannonball?
I hate that song. K-State could do much better than that song. But Roy Acuff claims it, and that is his illegitimate son.
Todd, who you got? Illegitimate
Well,
son?
tell me this, Curtis, or someone. Is there I know there's no Wimby. Is there a foreign guy who's going to get picked in the top 10?
Let me see. I don't know that there is.
Because I know there's less of those now because they're coming and getting money in America.
Nope. They're all college.
Okay.
College
Well, then
guys.
I will have. Just give me. I'll go even another name. How about Boozer?
Cam Boozer.
How about, that would be
legacy.
a bunch of different
That's a good
names.
pick. Yeah.
Let's go to another name. Yeah.
He's a good ball
Yeah, the
player.
highest on this mock draft that I'm seeing here on SI, the highest non-college player is number 18.
Of course, Jokic was drafted the second round. You
True
never
story.
know.
True story.
But remember the old days when, hey, there's Kresimir Kosic. He's really good. And, man, and then it just started. I mean, he came out of where? Brigham Young?
That
Kresimir Kosic.
doesn't sound familiar.
He's from Russia or Serbia, one of those places. But, I mean, back then you just had one or two guys.
Now they're
You know, Detlef Shrimp.
Local
That was it.
game.
Yep.
Uwe
right.
Blob.
Uwe
Yeah,
Blob.
right.
Indiana.
Right.
All right, question number 4. Curtis, you're going to lead us off here.
Okay.
Moving over to baseball, the Royals will have how many All-Stars this year?
One. I think it's just going to be Bob, and I think they'd have that if there wasn't a minimum or a requirement that each team have a representative. But I don't. There's a possibility if Salvin continues to stay hot, he might get some love from somebody. You know what? I'm going to say 2 because I think Waka's going to go.
Yeah, there you
Yeah,
go.
so do I.
I think Waka, and so I'll say 2. Witt and Waka, the Dubs.
I'll go with 2 as well because think about how many guys last year backed out and therefore the reserves got in as
Yeah.
all-stars.
Yeah.
I could see technicalities. That was Estevez, that was Garcia last year. I'm going to go with 2. It'll either be Michael Waka or I'll throw Daniel Lynch's name into the hat here. I could see him if he gets more closing opportunities, only adds to his value there. One of those 2 I feel pretty confident are going to get in.
Pete, who you got?
I've got a very tough question for you, Todd, when we're talking about All-Star. Oh, I'm sorry. I will take 2 myself also because I think Waka, with 2 more quality starts, which I think he'll have, I think he gets in. And Bobby.
Waka, yeah, Waka definitely deserves it. I'll take 2. Was I next, or did I go out of turn?
No, you're right.
I'm next, Todd. You're on the phone, so we're just going to have you go last every time.
Okay.
Wow.
I'm going to be pessimistic here. I think it's only going to be Bobby Wood Jr. I'm sticking with 1. Who you got, Todd?
2. Waka deserves it for sure, and Bobby's going to go.
Yeah.
I like it.
I dig it.
All right, moving on. Question number 5. Bobby Wood Jr. finishes where in MVP voting this year?
This is me first.
Yes, Jack leading off.
It's really hard to win the MVP if your team's not good. I mean, you have to be leading in damn near every
You have to be
single
Ernie
category.
Banks is who you
You
have to
do.
be.
And unfortunately, unless there's some miraculous turnaround, which would probably mean Bobby Witt Jr. does hit 330, I don't see him getting it this year. So I'll say that he finishes second for the second time in his career.
Pete?
I think he's going to end up about number 4.
4th, all right.
Can't tell you who's going to be ahead of him. I'm pretty sure. Well, last year I would have said Cal, but no. I think about 3rd. Let's say 3rd. He'll finish 3rd.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 3rd as well. You might see Munetaka Murakami ahead of Bobby with the season he's having. So give me 3rd for Bob. It's unfortunate, but I think that's where he lands. K-Dog?
3.
Lebo was screwing everything up here, walking in. If you heard the echo of his
What is
phone.
happening? 'Cause,
Hello?
he's right behind me.
Yeah, thankfully he hung up at the right time before everybody's ears bursted.
I didn't want to click so I would let him turn the thing off before I did. We want to hang up. 4th place.
4th place.
So I have the highest one at 2. I was the only one that went 2.
It would seem.
Yeah.
You have a
correct.
Royals shirt on.
Well, yeah, but
Clearly
that's
a homer.
that's not homerism.
No, it's not.
And that'd be first if it was homerism.
Well, no, you're not silly.
I'm not okay. I don't think it's that silly that if he was to win it, they can't lose 95 games.
Are they going to not lose 95 games?
I'm not gonna. 95 is pretty damn hard to do.
It is.
I think the pitching will at least get them to 74 or 75. But 95, you got to be.
That's a lot.
You got to be pretty awful.
They've done that.
They have, but maybe that's my homerism showing. Kyle, what's the next one?
No homerism on this question is possible. Number 6, we'll lead off with you, Todd. Alex Zumwalt's last day of employment as Royals hitting coach is when?
I didn't think they were going to fire anybody, but this is really bad. I'll just still say they're not going to make some change. Whatever, November 1, October 8, whatever the last, after the season.
Post 2026, all right.
Post, yeah.
Who's next?
Sorry, I'm writing down the answers. I'll go next. Give me July 1st. I think that's when they make a change. Or you know what? I mean, All-Star break. When's that? July 11th?
Something like
Somewhere around there. No, I'll stick with July 1st.
that. Who's next?
I think it should be you.
Go ahead, K-Dog.
I'm gonna say tomorrow.
Wow.
I like our just to be edgy, bold and daring.
Wow.
I
So
like
you
our
had pretty good
discussion
luck with
about
these.
off day after a brutal series on the road. I mean that if they're thinking about it, that fits the pattern of when those moves are made.
Mm-hmm. I will be edgy with this, not as edgy as you. I'm going to say June 1. It's a fresh start to the month. You've got this series in Arlington. Last year they did sweep the Rangers there, but prior to that they almost never won in Arlington. You go and lose that series and they get blanked in one of those games. They score one
And
or
the Rangers
two.
can pitch.
They can pitch. They've got a lot
That's
of
the
guys
one
there.
team they're playing on this road trip.
You're
is that
20.
They can pitch and
Yeah, they're 22-34. I put them at 23-36 going to Cincinnati. So I think it's that fresh month start. You give them one series to see if anything changes. But yeah, I mean today would make sense too, just because it's the off day before a 10-day road trip.
Pete?
I want to say July 1st because
Good
or
answer.
between July 1st and the end of the year. Because
no.
I'm just saying that it's going to have to happen then, or it's not going to until they clean house
Right.
at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So I'll go with July 1st.
All right. All answers are in. Moving on. Over to football. Question number 7. Where will the Chiefs land in the pre-Week 1 NFL Power Rankings? We let off.
Whose is this?
Yeah. No.
Consensus power ranking?
Yeah, consensus.
Okay.
It was right before that Monday night against Denver. We had Todd lead off. Curtis, why don't you lead off this one?
I'm gonna say 8.
8th in the power rankings. Jack?
I'll go 10 because I think that a lot of people are going to put last year into their minds
Oh, yeah.
and say all they added was Kenneth Walker. Therefore, you're not going to jump from a top 10 pick to top 10 in the power rankings. So I'll go at 10.
Pete?
I'm looking a little bit more optimistic. I'm thinking 6.
Okay.
I meant inside the top 10 too. I almost contradicted myself there. I mean a
think
single-digit
15.
power ranking.
It all depends, obviously, on number 15. So 15's ready. 6 is 6 going to be higher than 6?
Yeah, I'm right with you, Pete. I think before Week 1, Patrick Mahomes gets announced as the starter. Those power rankings are going to have him top 10. I'll go 7th.
So it's me. I'll go 11. Take it to 11. I think they're going to have to prove it because listen, they weren't sitting in the 1 seed when he got hurt last year.
They were
and
terrible.
only got worse after that. Terrible by Chief standards.
Well, I mean 6
Great
and
by
11,
some
but
standards, but I think they're going to have to prove it. So I wouldn't even be surprised if it's worse than 11, but I'll take 11.
And, good timing. Soren just sent me his answers to all the questions.
Oh, that's perfect.
Sent him the list yesterday. A little late getting back. But, all right, moving on. Who is the next SEC football coach to lose their job? Jack, we'll start with you.
Oh boy. It's not going to be DeBoer. I think they have some newfound love for him. Who's South Carolina just got a new coach, right?
No.
Arkansas just had a new
No,
coach.
South Carolina. Arkansas's got a new coach.
Yeah. Beamer's still there.
Silverfield is not going to get fired in year one. I'll go with Beamer.
Yeah, he's probably the hottest.
Yeah.
Pete, who do you think?
I think that and I don't even know who he is, but I think Florida really, the fans down there really want a new coach, and they
just got one.
Well,
didn't
did they get one now?
Yeah,
Did they?
Yeah, Napier was fired.
they? Yeah.
Oh, Napier. Well, okay. Well,
Summerall is their new coach.
Okay.
But he's got to win probably 8 games in year one.
Okay. Oh, as soon as they wake up and find out that they've been asleep for about 10 years, I'll take Texas A&M making the next move.
Okay,
Mike
Mike
Elko.
Elko.
At any time, they don't
Oh.
care.
Well, they don't. No, that's what money doesn't mean anything to
Yeah.
them. So they'll just fire away.
All right, I'm gonna go Ole Miss. I think Pete Golding, first one to get canned.
He got his chance
Everybody
last year.
loves him right now, though,
Ugh.
because he slandered Lane Kiffin. Who's going Lane Kiffin?
I'm going to go Beamer as well. Just coming off a 4-8 season. He's won a bowl game his first year. Hasn't won one since. Only been to 2. This has been year number 6, and it really hasn't. There's no upward trajectory. So I'm going to say Shane Beamer.
Todd?
Yeah, probably Beamer. I think Jeff Lebby's a chance as well at Mississippi State, but he's only been there a couple years. So Beamer's the longest tenured one who hasn't done well. So
Yeah, the only 2 that have been there longer than him are Kirby Smart and Eli Drinkwitz.
and I think Kirby Smart is safe, and I think Eli's safe for this year for sure.
Yeah.
So
Lane
yeah.
Kiffin's safe
Would
right
DeBoer at any point, though, because you get smacked by Indiana,
Yeah.
underachieved
It
in year
could.
one,
It could.
like, it doesn't seem like a good coaching cycle, though, for
But
for
gosh,
next year.
they've been firing people right in the middle of the season. I don't see DeBoer getting fired
Unless
in the
they
middle
start.
of the
I
season.
mean, they were 2-4 or something like that.
Yeah,
I think he's
it's not out of the question.
I guess that's true. But yeah, Beamer. I thought they had fired Beamer.
No, maybe they should have.
Maybe
but
they should
didn't.
have. But 3 of us going Beamer, and Kyle, yours was
Golding.
Pete Golding.
Golding. Gosh, that's out there.
Petro went Jeff Lebby, Mississippi
Yeah,
State.
so that's a chance for sure.
There's no
now.
expectation.
They
right
could
now.
fire every year. It'd
Yeah.
be making sense. Yeah.
All right, that was our 8th and final.
All right.
let's do it.
We'll see how that goes. Well, let's take a quick break here. When we come back, Stump the Chumps on Sports Radio 810 WHB. We continue hour number 2 of the program on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Not Seren Petro, though. Everybody else in that lineup was correct. But I am filling in for Seren today. Todd Lebo will be at Unlimited RV in Independence tomorrow.
That's right.
So will I.
Come on.
So will Kurtis.
So will Danny.
Yeah, you'll have the whole crew
Hey,
out
listen,
there.
we're all going to Independence to have a good time at Unlimited RV. Come by and say hello. They got a great
That's
special.
a good city. Who lives there? Huh?
Not me anymore. I
Well,
used
you
to.
used to. Yeah.
I hail from there, but
Yeah.
we're going to be there 2 to 6, and they have a big event happening all weekend. So if you can't come by tomorrow, go by on Saturday. They've got a big open house, all kinds of great specials and stuff like that. Good times.
Is
Unlimited
that a
RV.
good? Where's William Crispin? Is that in Independence?
Yeah, that's the bad.
You know
story.
what?
We don't talk about that.
but you know what? When I was in high school, William Crispin was a bear.
Yeah,
I mean,
well, they are the
literally-
Bears.
I mean, that's
right.
They were really good. I mean, they were
say
really
It's
good.
one of the top 5 high schools maybe that draw out of Independence.
At least they got a lighted football field.
They do. Hey, listen, Truman's got a football field now, Curtis.
Do they?
Yeah,
Catching up with the times.
yeah. It only took 50 years.
Well, it's time to play Stump the Chumps. We all have our questions ready to go. And I know Kyle led the last one. And I believe this might be my first time doing Stump the
he
Chumps
doesn't do
here.
he doesn't do questions.
He doesn't do it at all. So we just started
four of
off,
us.
and,
Yep.
and I guess
It's
I'll go
usually-
with
we just go around the room.
the table. All right, I got mine ready here. Then we'll go with question number 1. Since 2006, there have been 6 different non-SEC college baseball World Series champions. Name them.
Today's current SEC.
Today's current SEC, yes.
Well,
Lebo?
Enoch,
Go ahead.
LSU. Well, that's in it.
That's it.
Non-SEC.
God, SEC. No.
Baylor won one, didn't they?
Baylor did not
What
win.
years are we going to?
Oh, sorry. Since 2006. Let me pull it back up.
I thought Baylor won one. Maybe that.
Curtis, Miami.
Lebo.
I
Enoch.
did not. Hold on. I had it.
You got to write these things down.
I
homie.
know. I had it pulled. I had them all ready to go, and then I didn't.
And not in your
But-
head. That's not good enough.
I know. I did not have Miami on here. No Miami.
Lebo.
Enoch. Yeah.
Oregon State.
Yes, Oregon
Definitely
State
on
is one of them. They won it in 2006, 2007, and 2018.
there. Lebo, you in?
Arizona State.
Arizona State is not one of them.
I think UCLA got one or no?
UCLA won in 2013,
Okay.
and that was the last time they won.
USC.
No, they haven't won in a while, I don't
Have they?
think.
They have not.
It had to be in the SEC when they won it, or just they are in the SEC
Just
now?
non-SEC teams.
Okay. Because like Texas won one, but they weren't in the SEC when they won it, but they're in the SEC
They
now.
won in 2005 when they were in the Big 12.
Okay, so that one I got that.
This is just since 2006.
Okay. I'm going to try another one of those out there. Oh, Lebo.
You got that.
All
that's
right.
in.
I think it's
So
one of the
that's it.
Coastal Carolina.
Okay, so Coastal was one
I
of them
was in.
2016.
Okay, I got
Oh,
3.
man.
The one I had here, and I had it pulled up and then it erased, but Oregon State was in 2007. Fresno State was in
Fresno won.
2008. Arizona was in 2012.
wrong one.
UCLA, as you guys said.
state, wrong school.
Coastal. And the last one you guys were missing, Virginia.
Virginia did get
Yep.
one, yeah.
That's right.
Was Lynch on that team?
I don't know.
I think he went to Virginia. I don't know if he was on that team.
2016, he would have been.
He probably was on that team.
He
Yeah,
probably
yeah,
was,
yeah.
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 Or,
He
Virginia
drafted.
was 15, Coastal was 16.
Yeah, I bet Virginia. I bet
He
Daniel
would have been
Lynch
a
was
freshman,
youngster on
probably.
there,
Yeah.
Are you keeping score? No.
That was
I'm
three.
keeping
That
score.
was
3 for me, and that's
Three.
it for everyone.
Yeah.
Thunder Gong, get a pencil out, start keeping score.
Yeah.
All right, on to Curtis.
All right.
Thunder gone.
It's
I think he meant Thunderdome.
Thunderdome. Thunder Gong is the charity event that Will Forte puts on with Jason Sudeikis. Thunderdome.
All right, here we go. These are the top 25 players in career hits against the Royals.
Lebo.
Todd,
Wade Boggs.
Wade Boggs,
Enoch.
230.
Oh,
Pete,
No. Keep going.
Jack.
Jack.
Jim Tomey.
Yes, 194.
Lebo.
Todd,
How about Robbie Alomar?
Robbie Alomar, no. Pete,
Rod Carew.
Rod Carew, 263. Yes.
Jack.
Jack.
Francisco Lindor.
Francisco Lindor, no.
No, not we got the other Lebo on it. Lebo. How about Yount?
Robin Yount, yes, 232.
Lebo.
Todd.
Molly Tor.
Paul Molitor, 242.
good
Yes.
Jack.
These dudes.
Jack.
Paul Konerko.
Paul Konerko, yes, 240. See, we got
How many hits do we get down to?
lowest is 186. I
Lebo?
think. Todd.
Ricky.
Ricky Henderson, yes, 199.
Think about my
You still
baseball
got a couple
cards.
Hall of
Yeah.
Famers.
Lebo?
God,
I think Lebo.
Reggie Jackson, 196.
Jack. Bernie Williams.
Bernie Williams, no. Let's see. You got
Lebo. Is there another Hall of Famer? Is it Dave
is the
Winfield?
number of Hall of Famers. No.
Okay. That's 2 strikes.
See, third base, in the center fielder, shortstop, catcher, MVPs.
Jack. Carlos Santana.
No.
Lebo.
3 for me.
Todd.
Fred Lynn?
Nope.
No.
I only got 2 there.
Tough one.
2.
Harold Baines.
Baines.
Sal Bando. Miguel
Hey.
Cabrera. Torrey Hunter.
Miggy. We always forget
Man.
Miggy.
Derek
God.
Jeter.
Never heard of him.
Victor Martinez. Joe Mauer. Maglio
Love
Ordonez.
those White Sox, Tigers.
Palmeiro, Pierzynski, Jose Ramirez, Ripken, A-Rod, I-Rod,
Billy or Cal?
A-Rod, I-Rod,
That's egregious,
Frank
missing
Thomas,
Miggy.
Omar
That's
Vizquel,
egregious.
and Lou Whitaker.
Lou Whitaker. We miss Miggy all the time on things. Okay, here we go. You guys ready? You know what's happening this weekend? Pete? Do you know what's happening this weekend? It's one of the biggest events of the year. We're getting into World Cup mode. Soccer's a big deal. The Champions League final is this weekend. It's PSG versus Arsenal, okay? I just want you, they renamed
who is
listen,
that?
you just calm down. You can answer these
Well, who
questions.
is it?
It's a team from England and a team from France.
Oh, is
But
that
listen
like
to me.
me and you?
Listen to me. Since 1993, when they renamed this to Champions League from the Europa Cup. So every one of these teams is
yeah.
in Europe. And it
Remember
ain't
that
countries,
well.
it's teams. Just name me a club that has won the Champions League. And
Enoch.
these are, you've heard of these teams.
Liverpool.
There you
Damn
go,
it.
Liverpool. Pete got one.
Jack.
Liverpool.
Jack.
Manchester United.
Manchester United's won a couple.
Enoch.
Jack. Yes.
Curtis.
Man City.
Man City's won. Curtis, you're in.
Tottenham.
Tottenham has not won. They made a final. They didn't win.
Done.
You're not done?
Yeah, I am.
You've heard of these places and these teams, which by
Oh,
accident.
Leeds.
No, not them. Get out of England right now. There's some
Curtis.
more English ones.
Chelsea.
Chelsea's won one, of course.
Jack.
Think of other countries.
Arsenal.
No, they're going for the first one.
Oh, they're going for the first. I haven't
else
listened
is
to
the
that.
Think
I haven't
about
listened.
where do they speak Spanish, perhaps?
FC Milan.
AC Milan.
AC
We'll give you
Milan.
credit. That's
Yeah.
Italian.
Thunderdome says that shouldn't count.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
give it to him. Thunder will be nice.
I
There's
think you
more
can
Spain.
start to
If that had been
I
me,
mean,
you
two of the
would-
biggest teams in the world. You haven't said they're from Spain. Come on,
Curtis. Real Madrid.
Real Madrid.
Oh.
Let's go.
Oh, yeah. Toledo.
Oh, come on.
I,
You've never heard of you name a city.
When
in
have I
Spain.
ever come to
Name
you
a
with this
city
type
in-
of knowledge?
Barcelona. There we
Okay.
go.
Yeah.
All right, we got a couple of German teams too.
Nuremberg.
Belgium.
That's not a team. Belgium's a country. All right, Marseille in France, Ajax from the Netherlands, but Juventus in Italy, Borussia Dortmund from Germany, Bayern Munich. Come on, boys. Porto from Portugal, Inter Milan from Italy, and then last year PSG won. Who was playing in this one?
I was gonna say,
Paris Saint-Germain, and so I think we got 3-3 and
I only got one.
one for you and 3 for each of you guys. I
So
believe.
I'm at
I
3.
mean, yeah, that's good
Yeah.
for me, man. Okay. All-Star game coming up. I want to know now when Missouri native Carl Hubble, his string of strikeouts in 1934 was Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, Jimmy Fox, Al Simmons, and Joe Cronin, who was the 7th batter in that sequence right
I
there.
was gonna. I knew.
What
The,
did he
I knew the
do?
5 that you're gonna
Yeah.
ask me.
And
that.
what did he do?
Lebo, Bill Dickey.
Damn you.
Did I get it right?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Wow.
Well, yeah,
strong.
but there's still another.
He got a hit.
got two
2
right
points.
there.
Come on, put it down.
Nice work.
Jack, you even have a
Damn
pencil
you.
and paper.
No,
How are you
but-
keeping track of this?
I was.
Did
I,
you-
I thought you were
Was
going to
Was that
ask
a
for.
guess or was that? Did
I mean,
you-
I
That
just
was
knew he
pretty
was an
impressive.
all-star.
That was
You-
good,
How many
man.
points do you
5.
have, Curtis?
I don't remember.
that was good.
I'm still only at
Yeah,
3.
good job, Todd.
You got 3 on that last one. Did
Yeah,
you get some
yeah.
of his?
I got
at 3 total.
Yeah. What? Yours
No, you didn't
was-
get any on
Mine
that,
was a
the World
college.
Series.
No, I didn't
College
get
World.
any.
You didn't get any on that one.
All right,
you
so I
got
have
3
to
on
turn
that.
3 for Jack,
Yeah.
3 for Curtis, 10 for me, 4 for Pete.
All right, so back to me.
Back
to you.
Yeah, back to me.
And now you got your score sheet out. You're
I
writing
got
this
I
down.
do, yeah.
Do you
All right,
have
I
a
got my-
pencil or a pen?
As I
got
said, I
five,
got it.
five, by the
I've
way,
got it up
Todd.
here.
Got 5.
Clearly not.
You're 5? Okay.
On to my second question. In 2002, this is Major League Baseball.
2002.
Which you will find out here shortly. There were 6 players that hit north of 330 on the season. Name them.
2, 3.
Curtis.
What year?
Lebo. Curtis is
Pete
first.
Curtis was first.
2000.
First. Pete was first.
2002.
Okay.
There were 6 players that hit north
Okay.
of 330.
Pete, you were
Enoch
first.
Molitor?
Incorrect.
Barry Bonds.
Correct. He was
My
number
answer.
1 at 370.
That's my answer. 330.
21 points higher than number 2 on this list.
Lebo, let's try something somewhat local. He was gone, but John Damon. No.
Curtis.
Damon, incorrect. Incorrect.
Darren Erstad.
Incorrect.
Lebo. Helton.
Incorrect.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Man, I was that was right.
This is tough.
Give us now. You can go a little hint here. You can be like
Okay.
a division or a.
One of them was a Royal.
Curtis. Mike Sweeney.
Mike Sweeney was third that year, hitting 340.
More hints, please.
One guy played on a team that no longer exists.
Oh, wow.
Lebo. Vlad.
Yep, Vladdy was fifth. He hit 336.
Joe Mauer.
Mauer, no.
Oh, how about the other dude up there? Lebo. The other guy up there.
That doesn't work
With
for
the
me.
Frenchy name. The other white dude. What's his name? Not Joe Mauer. Dang it.
All right.
Who was it?
1 through 6.
Justin
Barry Bonds
Morneau.
hit 3. Yeah, Morneau was not on this.
Okay, good.
It's 2002, by the way.
Okay.
One was
remember
Barry
that.
Bonds
Yeah.
hitting 370 for the Giants. Second, hitting 349, Manny Ramirez
Never heard
of the
of him.
Red Sox.
Yeah.
Mike Sweeney was third, hitting 340. Larry Walker of the
Lower.
Rockies,
Yeah, we knew it would be a
338. Vlad Guerrero, I think I might have said Vladdy Jr., but Vlad Guerrero, 336 for the Expos. And sixth, hitting 333 for the New York Yankees, Bernie Williams.
Bernie.
All right, this is also a top 25. This is top 20 with at least 1,000 career plate appearances.
1,000.
1,000 plate appearances, which isn't many, by 2 seasons worth. Top 25 in career batting average for the Royals.
Lebo.
Todd.
Enoch.
Oh, I don't know if he got enough. George.
George, yeah. Pete.
Hal McRae.
Hal McRae, yes.
Lebo.
293. Todd.
Willie Wilson.
Willie
Enoch.
Wilson, yes. Pete.
Amos Otis.
Amos Otis, no.
Lebo.
Todd.
Mike Sweeney.
Mike Sweeney, yes.
Lebo.
299, yes. Todd.
Jose Hoffman get enough PAs?
Jose Offerman, yes. 306. He is the highest.
He's
Jack.
the highest Royals
Jack.
batting.
Lorenzo Kane.
Lorenzo Kane, yes.
Enoch.
Pete.
Hosmer.
Eric Hosmer, yes. 284.
Lebo.
Todd.
Seitzer.
Kevin Seitzer, yes. 294.
Jack.
Jack.
Johnny Damon.
Johnny Damon, yes. 292.
Lebo.
Todd.
Carlo Beltran.
Carlos Beltran, yes.
And there was how long?
See how he gives you 25 minutes and you
Jack.
brought 6?
Jack.
Jack.
David
Pinella?
DeJesus.
David DeJesus, yes.
Lebo.
Todd.
How about Bob Witt Jr.?
Bobby Witt Jr., 290.
Enoch. Yeah.
Pete.
Panella.
Lou Piniella, 286.
Lebo.
still
Did
got
someone
a
say
couple
Hal
old-
already?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Let's see, we got
Jack.
Danny
Danny Tartable.
Tartable, yes, 290.
Lebo.
Totrick.
Bill Butler.
Bill Butler, 295.
Good job.
You guys are cleaning up here.
Well, you gave us an easy one.
Um,
Lebo.
Todd.
Gordo.
Alex Gordon, no.
Jack.
Enoch.
Jack.
Al Collins.
I was going to say Joe Randa. Anybody say Randa?
Joe Randa, yes. Al Cowens, no.
All right. See how he gave 25 answers and you've given us 6?
Makes it harder.
The
Well,
ones,
yeah, but I
Understand the
mean,
race.
you know.
the ones you missed in alphabetical order: Willie Aikens, Mike Avilas, Alberto Collapso,
Who? Kayas.
Cayaspo,
Oh.
who someone noted would have driven in the game-winning
He
run
did.
for the
Off
for the
Jason
A's.
Frazier.
Absolutely did.
If had they not made a comeback in
Yeah.
the 2014 wildcard.
Revenge.
Yeah, that's about 300 or something for the Royals
He's a
in
good hitter.
2009.
Jermaine Dye,
Ah,
I was
Mark
thinking about him.
Grudzilonic, Raul Labanez, Wally Joyner, Ray Sanchez, Whit Merrifield.
Oh,
Wow.
stupid.
A lot of names are
206.
being thrown out there. So I got 4.
The best of those that you didn't get
Yeah, I
was
think so.
Grud, who hit 300. Again, the 1,000 plate appearances isn't many.
Are you guys ready?
Yep.
We are.
National Basketball Association.
The
I'm looking at
NBA.
you, Pete.
No, you're not.
I am.
But should he be?
I am looking at you because you know these answers. The New
He's
York,
looking at you,
the New
Pete.
York Knicks are in the finals.
Yes.
Okay? I just want you to tell me someone from the New York Knicks on their top 20 all-time scoring list.
Enoch.
Yeah.
Curtis.
Willis Reed.
Willis Reed's number 3, correct.
Enoch.
Pete's in, or Curtis, then Pete.
I'm going to say Patrick Ewing.
He's number
Enoch.
1.
Pete.
Dave DeBuscher.
Curtis.
Dave DeBuscher is number 19
Enoch.
on the list. Curtis,
Walt
then Pete.
Frazier.
Walt Frazier is
Jack.
number 2.
Carmelo Anthony.
Carmelo's there. Pete.
Jerry Lucas.
Jerry Lucas is not on the list.
Curtis. Bill Bradley.
Bill Bradley's on the
Yeah.
list.
Jack.
Yeah.
Amari Stoudemire.
Not on the list. Move around too much. There's some
Curtis.
other old guys, Pete.
Jalen Brunson.
Brunson's on the list. Some older guys. One of these guys may have served his country in the upper house of the.
That was Bradley.
There you go. Did someone?
Well, you already got
All right,
Bradley.
sorry. I
Somebody
missed
got
it.
Bradley.
Okay. There's a guy with whose brother was more famous than him. Might have been just
Curtis.
like a human highlight reel.
Gerald Wilkins.
Gerald Wilkins is on the list. A couple. There's an enforcer. People
Curtis.
remember those 90s.
Bernard
days?
King.
Oh,
Bernard King's not on. Wow. Didn't play long enough. How about a guy who's
Oakley.
Oakley? There
Charles
you go.
Oakley.
There's how about a guy whose last name is a big city in Texas?
Harold Dallas.
No.
Walter San Antonio.
Ike Austin. I don't know.
Come on. What's the
Is a
Houston.
old guy.
How about
or-
a-
Oh, Houston.
Allen Houston?
Oh, that's right. Duh.
Okay, you guys did pretty well. Carl Braun, Richie Guerin.
Carl Braun.
And no one said Earl Monroe, I don't think. Dick
Yeah,
Barnett, Bill
man.
Cartwright,
Big
John
miss.
Starks, Willie Knowles, Harry Gallatin.
Yeah.
These are all your good
Yeah,
friends. Ken Sears. Julius Randle's actually on the top
Wow,
20 there.
nice.
So I think I got 4 for Pete, 5 for Curtis, and 1 for Jack. Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
Works for me.
I'm pretty sure I'm in last.
And then Pete's
Age.
Okay,
Youth
fel-
are-
These-
your enemy.
some of these are not my categories. Pete, what you got?
I want to know what D1 school in basketball in the last 30 years has compiled a losing record since winning the national championship.
That's 30 years. Losing record.
Outlier them.
Losing record
Ooh, that's
since
good.
winning the national championship.
Curtis.
Butler never won.
Marquette.
Damn you.
Good
That's-
job.
I- that was very good.
Have we ever gotten 2 Pete questions?
God, boy, good job, man. Both of you.
I
All
just
right,
worked my way
both
back
you
from
guys.
90.
So here's the deal.
Both
I
you
think
guys.
we have Jack at 900, Curtis at 1100, me at 1800, and Pete at 1000. So here's the way this works, Jack. You need to make a wager. You need to write it down now.
All of
Go
it.
find a
All of
pencil.
it.
Well, you don't say it now. You write it. It's a secret. Have you ever watched Jeopardy?
Yeah, but I'm in last place, and I was going to
Well,
do
you
that
need
anyways.
to look
Okay,
at
so
the wagers, and then you ask Kyle to tell you what the category is.
Kyle, tell us the category.
All right, boys. Our final chumps category is playoff droughts.
Pretty good with this.
No sport, just playoff droughts.
Playoff droughts.
Excuse me, Major League Baseball.
Okay.
Playoff
Okay.
droughts.
There we go.
That helps a little bit.
I like
And
it.
if you'd like to send in a question that could be used in a future episode, you send it to Kyle at 810WHB.com, and then blind copy
Yes.
Todd Lebo at
So we're just
810WHB.com.
and then
we're
just
just answering to clarify here the longest playoff.
No. He's going
No,
to
he's
ask
going
the
to ask
question.
the
after-
question. He gives you
Got
the
it.
top. The
Got it.
You're going to
got
throw
it.
it to break, and then I'll tell you what
Yeah.
happens during
Ready.
the break.
Then,
Yeah,
and
okay.
then if you do, you
So we've
just,
got the category. Now we can take
Okay,
a break
think about
and we
it.
can come
That's
back.
right.
I like to hear it. Okay, we're
if
going
you do submit a question, then you just have to chill till the next episode.
That's right.
Sounds good to me. We'll be back after this on the program.
All right, the Twin Peaks end of the hour answer. How many pitchers since 1901 have had a single calendar month with 40 or more strikeouts and no runs allowed?
Lefty Grove.
Nope. I said how many?
Oh.
Well, I guess Oral Hershiser probably did. Don Drysdale probably did. I mean, they had those long streaks. No, couldn't do it. How about nobody?
2.
One.
1.
And it just happened. Christopher Sanchez at the Phillies.
Oh, no wonder I didn't get
More than 40 Ks in a calendar month, no runs allowed.
Never heard of it.
He's
A
damn
lot
good.
of folks haven't, but he is dominant.
Is he better than most of the Royals pitchers?
I would say
By
he's
just a
probably
smidge.
better than all
Just
of
a
them.
little
Just
bitty
a
baby, a
smidge,
little baby
yeah.
smidge.
Yes. I mean, if
You
you're
wouldn't have
wondering,
said that 2 months ago, though.
if you're wondering why the Phillies have been able to rebound after their
That
early
part where you don't allow
managerial,
any runs.
think if the Royals had a pitcher who had more than 40 Ks and no runs allowed for an entire month of May,
They probably would have gone
wouldn't be-
2-2 in those games.
Yeah, it's
Telling me, you
possible.
guys
Yeah.
tell me, though, and I don't follow even close to what you guys do, but what the hell happened to the Cubs? Mm-hmm. What happened?
How to lose a
I
division
looked
in
in
10
there.
days.
I looked in there one day, and they're on top by 2.5, and now they're dead last.
All right, let's go, Kyle. What's up?
Kyle, what's the question
All right,
here?
gentlemen, our final chumps in playoff droughts. The Sabres ended a long playoff drought in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Over to baseball. Who currently has the longest playoff drought? Active playoff drought in Major League Baseball.
Got it.
See, you knew this one.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. I thought I had this one, but now I don't.
It's not super long either, is it? It's not like some crazy Sabres thing.
It wasn't like Seattle's.
No. I wrote it down. I don't think I've got it, though.
All right.
So we start. I'll just do this part. Start with Jack. He's got 900. First of all, what was your answer?
My answer was the Los Angeles Angels.
That's ding ding, and you bet it
Nailed it.
all?
I put all of it.
All of it. So you got 1,800.
Yep.
And up next is Pete.
Nothing.
You bet nothing. What was your
Nothing.
answer? Nothing on all of it?
Nothing on both.
1,000. Kurt?
I said the Pirates. Nope.
We know that's wrong. You
Pirates
bet
in second.
all. So you have 0. I said Minnesota. I bet 401. I should have bet
So
0.
I won.
So Jack wins.
That's
end up
why
with-
I bet everything. By the way, the Angels' last playoff appearance, 2014, swept by the Kansas City Royals.
haven't won a game since.
Haven't
when?
won a game since. It's
World
also
Series?
the only postseason series that Mike Trout has ever appeared in. And they're not going to be back anytime soon, so you can add one more year after
I
2026.
got one thing to say to you, Jack.
What's that?
Damn you.
Congratulations, Jack.
Yeah, that was a good job.
Hey,
man.
Big
first
win.
time playing.
Yeah.
That's
1-0.
it's great. You brought no food for anyone. You know, you got it when you win. I understand the
Yeah.
game.
Blair Kirchhoff next.
All right, how many postseason walk-off homers have happened with the team trailing? Brought to you by La Feta Delicatessen.
Hour number 3 of the program on Sports Radio 810 WHB. I'm your host, Jack Johnson, filling in for Soren Petro. Kurtis Seaboldt's here. Kyle Collier producing. And joined in studio for the next hour by Blair Kirchhoff. Blair, thanks for coming in today.
Great to be here. Hope you're doing well, Jack.
Well, other than, we said this to J.J. Cooper yesterday, other than the Royals playing the way they have for the better part of 2 months, you just can't complain too much about the day-to-day life. But when you work in the sports industry, oftentimes the failures of the team you're covering impact your day-to-day. And maybe let's start there. A team that basically told everybody in the media going into the season, in spring training, at the Fan Fest, we expect to win a division title. We expect to get back to October. It's not a this has to go right, this has to go right. It was we do anticipate being there, but here they are in a relatively weak division, and they are 12 games under 500. Why has it gotten to this point? And maybe more importantly, is this who they are? Are they going to be a team that loses anywhere from 90 to 100 games, or is there some spurt that is bound to happen at some point?
Well, I don't think the sentiment was wrong going into the season. I thought last season ended up being a disappointment. Following 86 wins and a playoff appearance with 82, but you could explain that away, the injuries to the staff, and but you had a 3,100 season from Salvi and from Vinny and Michael Garcia having the year that he had, and Witt's numbers came down a little bit last year, but it was, what was he, 4th in the MVP voting? I mean, it was a great season, and so every reason to believe going into this year that with healthier arms, that players like Garcia and Vinny, and even maybe you would have expected a little bit of regression from Salvi, but otherwise, a year better from Caglione and Jensen showed promise, and I think they improved the corner outfielders. Every reason to believe that this would be a next step type of season, and that's what to me has kind of why we're in the mood that we're in about the Royals. It's not because this is just another one of those double-digit games under 500 before June seasons. It's because there was legitimate reason to feel good about this team's hopes going into this year, and they've just been kind of heartbreakingly bad. So, and for all the reasons we understand it, to me it was the Carlos Estevez injury early. I thought set the tone. It screwed up the bullpen. And now you had Irsay closing. You had people in roles they didn't expect to be in, and I think that had an impact early. The hitting with runners in scoring position never came around. Still hasn't come around. The disappointment, the disappointing season, especially for Pasquantino and Salvi, everything. It's hard to, except for the play of Bobby Witt Jr. and maybe Daniel Lynch. He's having a good season. Waka's having a terrific season, but just about everybody else, you're just going, what's going on? Why is this happening? Why is this happening to us? Not like we've had so many years of great expectations going into a season, but when we do have one, let's fulfill it. Let's be competitive. Just if you were just 500 now, you'd be right in the thick of things, and you'd be plotting. What moves do we need to make going into the trade deadline? But now you're hearing about who's going to get sold off. How are you going to improve? What's it going to look like next year and the year after? And nobody wants to be here. Nobody thought we would be here.
So I guess what it comes down to is maybe finding where the blame should be placed, because I'm a big believer in, yes, when your offense struggles, the guy that often falls on the sword is the hitting coach, because they're the easiest to replace. You can go and change around pieces of the offense, but when you want to send a message, it's usually firing the hitting coach. But there's a lot of experienced guys that you're just expecting to be better than they really are. Is the blame on the coaches for a team that has the talent? They're 12 games under 500. Is it the players simply underperforming? Or is it the third option here of J.J. Picollo and company assembled this roster, and there was all the talk of they need an impact bat, They decide to hang on to all of their pitchers, which now looks to be a good thing because they've lost a couple of them to the injured list. But Isaac Collins was the lone bat they really brought in to make an impact. That's a lot of chips, on the side of Jack Caglione and Carter Jensen to be big-time contributors. They've had their moments, but yet, Blair, here we sit, and it's not a good offense. So where do you think the most of the blame should fall on?
Hard to say. Everybody's got a piece of it. The hitting coach is going to, I think, shoulder most of it, and it's not the first time we've been down the road with him. And the Royals made moves after last season to shake up the coaching staff on the hitting side, and it hasn't worked. It just hasn't worked. So I think the next step would be to make a change at the top of that. Let's just assume right now it won't be Matt Quatraro or J.J. Piccolo. These are, John Sherman basically hired J.J. and he turned around and hired, Q. So I think that if there's going to be some kind of change, it'll be at that level, at the hitting coach level. Now, when that would be, I don't know. All-Star break. Do you ride it out to the end of the season? Do you look at what's left in this season in the division you're in and think there's still, you're just a 5-game winning streak away from, being a wild card contending team. It could be as simple as that. And if that's the case, do you make a change? I don't know, but I don't think. However this season ends for the Royals, and let's just, for the sake of argument, say it doesn't end in a playoff. Let's say it's not a 95-loss season, but it's a losing, somewhere in the mid to low 70 win, and they don't make the playoffs. I don't think it's a clean the house situation yet. Certainly personnel moves would have to be made, but I think the general manager would be back in that scenario. I don't know what it would take, to be honest with you, for them to make those kind of moves.
But then is the focus in the offseason, if this was a disappointing year, maybe a couple guys you lost due to injury, guys underperformed, is that where you going into 2027, we can't keep gambling on guys that we're waiting for them to show us something. You have to go out and spend quite a bit of money. You have to part ways with some valuable pieces to get the impact players, because I thought after 2025, the message was clear of that was a disappointment to us. We're going to be much better. But yet here they are, far worse than they were at this point in 2025.
Well, you said it a moment ago, and you said it well, that asking the question, is this who they are? We were hoping last season with Garcia, with Pasquantino, with Salvi, and in the sunset of his career, that's who they were. But two full months into this season now, we're about 55 or 56 games in, more than a third of the season. I think that's long enough to establish an identity of what kind of season you're going to have. I'm not sure Vinny's going to turn it around, and he certainly absolutely can't duplicate the numbers that he had a year ago, and which is, it's such a shame, because it looked like, in 04 when he was on pace for 100 plus RBIs when he broke the thumb, and then he had the big 113 RBIs last year, and you think, okay, that's who he is. Where is this coming from? With him, and why is it like this? And like I said, a little bit of regression with Salvi, but he's still on pace to hit 25 home runs this year. He's not driving in many, but nobody is on this team. I don't think that right now there's a guy on the team who's projected to have 80 RBIs. So that's the question. To me, what you asked is the biggest question in the offices of the Royals. Is this who we are? Was last year the aberration, the highest, the high watermarks in the careers of Vinny and Garcia, and guys that in the case of Garcia gave a contract to, and how do you look at it? How do you to me, that's what the Royals have to determine. And John Sherman hasn't, to this point, has been a guy who's been willing to make moves, but not willing to make the big market type of purchase.
Yeah.
We haven't seen that. And we haven't seen the blockbuster trade that we saw in the years leading up to the pennant seasons of a decade or so ago. The Greinke trade, and I forget who they gave up. Oh, the trade that brought Shields and Wade Davis
from Will Myers.
Will Myers, from Tampa Bay. Those were, you think about how critical those trades were for building to get Wade Davis and James Shields and Alcides Escobar, Lorenzo. Those incredible return on the trades there. Haven't seen that type, but maybe if the Royals were closer, we'd see something like that. I don't know if to me, I fear seeing the Royals in more of a selling mode than anything else in a couple of months.
Well, and when it comes to being aggressive in the offseason, it doesn't always equate to a bunch of wins. I mean, you go back to last year. The Mets signed Juan Soto to the $700 million deal. They put a lot into that roster coming off of an NLCS appearance. They don't even make the playoffs, and now look at where they are. I mean, they're double-digit games under 500. Baltimore was disastrous last year. They get Pete Alonso. They get Taylor Ward, who the Royals were interested in as well, and they're not a winning baseball team right now. So it's not as easy as go spend money, and those guys are going to be great for you. But this persona of we always believe in our guys and the guys we're drafting and developing, it kind of seems like it's hurting them a little bit this year, where they've continued to roll out the same lineup, the same pitchers. They have the same bullpen guys with long leashes, where really the quickest leash or the shortest leash we've seen is Bailey Falter. But even Bailey Falter was maybe on this roster a little bit too long based on the numbers and based on the comments that he had the other day. But is that maybe an issue of you put too much value into guys that might have had that one-off season of that was a great 5-6 WAR season, but there's also a world in which that's the best they ever are. I mean, we brought up Mike Aviles in Stump the Chums. Mike Aviles had a pretty good start to his Royals tenure. He never was the same player again. That can happen in baseball, and you don't want to overvalue guys when it might have been the one-off. Milwaukee's great at doing that. Milwaukee gets what they want out of a certain guy, then they trade him and they move on from him.
And Oakland used to be that. The Athletics used to be that way as well. I've always admired the small market consistent winners. The Rays are like that. Cleveland has been like that. And I thought when Cotrero came to Kansas City and with that experience of working with the Rays and the Guardians, and even John Sherman with his background as part owner of Cleveland's team, that we're going to get that knowledge. You're going to get that organizational knowledge that for whatever reason we haven't had in Kansas City. The knowledge to be able to create a team and a franchise organization that with fewer resources can be competitive, kind of beyond its payroll, and it hasn't happened. Not yet, not to the extent I thought. 24 was the beginning, perhaps the beginning of that, and the trend, and the thing that separated the Royals from those other teams, organizations we mentioned, is none of those had a player like Bobby Witt Jr. A guy who is going to be in a top 5 MVP race every year. I mean, when it's all said and done, the number 1 or 2 player in franchise history. Nobody else, the Brewers, the Athletics, others didn't have that kind of guy. But, gosh, here we are, 2 months into the 26th season, and we're asking questions that we were asking in the 100 loss this time during the 100 loss seasons. And what mistakes did they made? Where could they have made a better decision? Why isn't it working? Who should be held accountable for it? Who's going to get fired for it? I was hoping it was fun to have a couple years respite from those types of conversations, but here we are back having those conversations, and that's what makes the mood so dark about around Royals baseball right now.
Well, they were 12-1 against that 120 loss White Sox team in 2024.
Right. Yeah.
So I guess now you can bring up the question. If they go 500, if the White Sox were normal that year, not historically awful, and they were to be 8-5 against them, I mean, think about what that does to their record. That's a 4-5 win difference. and that could be the difference in you being 86-76, getting the final playoff spot, and 81-81, which wouldn't have been good enough. So is that based on 2025 being 82-80, 24? I guess that's kind of a dumb point to make because the White Sox were that bad, but did we maybe not correct enough based on they thought they really were a playoff team when maybe in reality they benefited from such an awful team they got to play 12 to 13 times?
Well, you're right. The record tells you you're right about that. Now everybody in the AL, the three other teams in the AL Central got their 12 or 13 games against the White Sox and didn't have as good a record as the Royals did, against that particular Chicago team. So, that's and rubbing salt into the wound a little bit. Look at where the White Sox are now in just 2 years after a historically bad season. So yes, the fact that the Royals, basically were a 500 team without playing the White Sox and took advantage of that. I remember Bobby Witt just owned the White Sox that year, had that great series right after the All-Star break, and just was raked against the White Sox up in Chicago. But listen, all the games count. They all count. So I don't think it was unfair for the Royals to just take their 86 wins that season, think they were a year ahead of, maybe a little year ahead of schedule, no matter who they had beaten that year, and plotted a course with that in mind. Now it wasn't a 12-1 record last year against the White Sox. I remember Chicago won a few more games, and this year Royals are underwater against the White Sox, as they are against a lot of teams. But yeah, that does hurt a little bit to see what the White Sox are doing and what they've done against Kansas City this year.
Okay, we're going to take our first break here in the third hour. When we come back, let's talk some football. I mean, the Chiefs have been speaking to the media a little bit, and we've certainly got some conversations that can start up as we get closer and closer to OTAs. You're listening to the program on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
All right, the La Feta Delicatessen, end of the hour answer. How many postseason walk-off homers have happened with the team trailing?
There haven't been many historically, obviously, but Mazeroski wasn't. That was a tie game.
Just postseason, not World Series.
Just postseason.
Well, Joe Carter's turned it.
One.
Is that the only one?
There have been more.
Okay.
There have been 5.
Oh, 5. Okay.
One I'd forgotten. I was like, oh, that was just recent.
Was Freddie Freeman?
Freddie Freeman?
Yeah.
Yeah. How about the Mets Grand Slam? The Grand Slam single.
Oh, they didn't end up calling.
So you
they
can't
didn't
call
call
it. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, they had been calling a thing.
Kirk Gibson.
3. You got 2 more. One of them is fairly recent. One of them was the first.
Ishikawa
amazingly.
was not. If they were tied
was
against
tied.
St. Louis.
Bobby Thompson.
Oh yeah, they didn't. This didn't say. This didn't go.
Well,
I guess.
you know what?
I guess that was a regular season
Technically,
game.
it was a regular season game.
Yeah. So I was like, why didn't they put that on there? First one was in 1986. You wouldn't remember Lenny Dykstra hitting one off Dave Smith of Houston. Houston got him back though. At least got one back in 2022. Yordan Alvarez off Robbie Ray in the ALDS in 22. So Dykstra, Gibson, Carter, Alvarez, and Freeman. Kirk Gibson. How old is he today? I had this a minute ago.
Former Royal Kirk Gibson.
Yes.
I would thought Edmonds' walk-off in St. Louis against Houston was tied as well. Damn. Okay. So
Kirk
5?
Gibson, 69 today. 5.
5 total.
5. Gibson's
How many were
probably the
two
most
outs?
dramatic. Oh,
That's.
I just deleted that page, I think.
We can find it for another time.
I'll find that.
We are here in studio with Blair Kirchhoff. There's Curtis Seaboldt, Kyle Collier producing this thing. Want to talk some football here because we have been talking a lot of bad Royals baseball. We need something positive.
I was
to
working
go
on some
over
stuff
here.
in that segment. I'm sad that I missed all the happy Royals talk.
Oh yeah, 'cause
Oh
there's
yeah,
so much
very
of it.
very uplifting.
While you guys were in there laughing and high fiving, I was like, wow, something's going on. What am I missing? What party is that?
But Blair, I do want to get your thoughts on a few things when it comes to the Chiefs gearing up for maybe the summer of this offseason and where they stand. Patrick Mahomes may be the number one question mark where he's going to be at. In our conversations yesterday, we had Price Carter on, and he believes that it will be Mahomes week 1 running out of the tunnel against Denver as the starting quarterback. Maybe if you're a conspiracy theorist of the scheduling and you wouldn't put Denver prime time that early if it's going to be Justin Fields as the guy. But where are you at? I mean, we all know he's a motivated guy, and he would want to play more than anything in the world. But it's also a significant knee injury. It's week 1. It is a division rival that swept you last year, but you cannot go in there and risk having anything set you back where now it is Justin Fields for an extended period of time. But do you think he'll be 100%? And if he's not, is there no conversation, no discussion? It's Justin Fields is the guy until he's ready.
Well, if Mahomes isn't ready, there's no discussion. It is absolutely Justin Fields. And look, every time Andy Reid addresses the media, and today it was Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes who addressed the media. Mahomes for the first time, really, addressing local media since this year, I think. Wouldn't that be right, Curtis? I don't remember Patrick Mahomes.
I don't either.
I think it was his first time this year. So he was and both were asked about week 1, and Mahomes was actually asked twice about it. And the answer was, everything he's doing is focusing on being the guy week 1. Now, that's a little softer than the last time. Like, he spoke pretty soon after having the surgery, and he was very adamant about being the guy on week 1. The timeline for this injury tells you that would be something of an upset, right? Because it's typically close to a year recovery, 10 months to a year type of recovery, and this would be less than that, right? Happened in December, and they want him to go in September. So, but ahead of schedule. Every time you talk to somebody, the Chiefs, he's ahead of schedule, and he's the most determined guy. And teammates who have been around him have said, the guy's just amazing. Now, today, He was the quarterback during 7-on-7 drills, but he was not the quarterback with more players on the field, 11-on-11. The idea is, at least with 7-on-7, it's purely passing. He's not moving much, and he's not going to get clipped by a jet sweep or something like that in 11-on-11. So that was Justin Fields. So when it was for a complete team, more of the type of team that you would see on opening night, Justin Fields was the quarterback today. Now, weeks and months to go before that decision has to be made. My guess is Justin Fields will end up emerging from OTAs still ahead on the depth chart. We'll start training camp that way, and maybe we'll see sometime at St. Joe that Patrick Mahomes will have recovered enough, not enough, but 100%. It can't be just enough to play. It's got to be, full 100% confidence in it from Mahomes, from Reed, from Rick Burkholder, the trainer. They all have to be 100% confident in this knee, in the left knee, that he would end up being the Week 1 starter. Just because it's Mahomes and we have seen him do incredible things, unbelievable things, I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up being the guy against the Broncos that night. I don't think the scheduling had anything to do with it. It's fun for conspiracy theories. The way the Chiefs ended up with 6 or 7 primetime games, chances are they were going to get one anyway on opening day. But I wouldn't be surprised if it ends up being Mahomes, which means game 1 for the preseason, which would be a home game, I think on August 14th. I think Fields and Mahomes would end up taking snaps that day, possibly. That's just a guess on my part. But we haven't had a situation like this in Kansas City where we've got we've had the only time Mahomes has ever lost time and didn't start because of an injury. We thought he was gone for a long time when his kneecap ended up in
Denver,
on the other side of his knee, and he missed 2.5 games. He missed the rest of that game, 2 games. And then he came back, and
it was great.
And what did he do?
Tennessee.
Oh, that's right. They didn't. The Tennessee game.
They lost, but he was phenomenal.
I believe that's still the most passing yards he's ever had in a game.
The game that was the McCole Hardman game.
Jump pass.
Doing
jump passes, and it's like,
and they lost.
That's right. And they lost, and then didn't lose again.
Yeah,
right, for the rest of the year. So he's an amazing guy who has done amazing things. This might be one of those moments where he's he runs out on opening night at Arrowhead, and the place will be bananas.
I've thought about this over the last couple of weeks, really just in the aftermath of them signing Kenneth Walker to the deal that they did. You go back to that game against L.A. Let's say Patrick Mahomes doesn't get hurt. He plays in maybe a few more games, and they just sit him out the rest of the way because the season is over at that point. He goes into the offseason 100% healthy. Do you believe that Brett Veach would understand the running back room needs to be improved, but we're going to do it in our own way? Whereas he got hurt, it was a significant knee injury, and they said, by everything we can do, we got to go get one of the top guys available. I don't care what he costs because we need to be more run-oriented while our quarterback is still building up that knee. Do you think if Mahomes didn't get hurt, they still signed Kenneth Walker, or was that always going to be a plan for them?
You think like not a contingency, but
yeah,
I do. I think they begin to, because of before Mahomes was hurt, that offense was struggling last year. That was not vintage Chiefs offense. That was at times really hard to watch. Terrible on third down, terrible in the clutch. The best thing they had going for him last year was Kareem Hunt on 4th and 1. But wide receiver group was not good. So yeah, I think they would have been prepared to change or at least alter their offensive identity a little bit by signing a player like Kenneth Walker. The fact that they got the best player who on the field during the Super Bowl, that, and they're paying him, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't know this until I heard it the other day that the Chiefs running back room still like the 23rd or 22nd paid running back room in the NFL, even with Walker's contract. So, yeah, I do think that, and which is a smart move on the Chiefs' part. If nothing, not only do you get a player who's pretty talented. Who, if you watch the Super Bowl, as I was watching the Super Bowl, thinking, God, I wish the Chiefs did more of that. I wish they had a back like this. I wish they didn't. A guy who can spot holes and can hesitate and maneuver that way, who's got good peripheral vision, and because the Chiefs have really lacked that over the last couple of years. Especially when you get out of Pacheco's first and second years, he just hasn't been the same guy the last 2 years. He needed to move on. Kareem Hunt might end up being back with the Chiefs. At some point, but not. He's not right here. Not now. Rashard Smith was getting a lot of reps today at running back for the Chiefs. So, yeah, long answer to a good question. I think that the Chiefs would have made the Walker move, and because of the injury, I expect a pretty heavy workload for him during training camp, and just to see how he's going to work with this offensive line. That's another thing about the Walker acquisition. The Chiefs have invested so much in the middle, the interior part of the offensive line at guards and center. They need to take advantage of the talent that they have there in more ways than pass protection. They need to be road pavers, and I think they can be. And now they've got somebody who can follow the road through there. And I'm pretty. I don't think nationally the Chiefs are going to get a lot of love for what they are on offense, especially because of Mahomes coming off the devastating injury. I think they're going to be better offensively, certainly than they were last year, and better than the national perception.
How much of that is going to come down to the tackle play? Because Juwan Taylor no longer at right tackle. It appears they're going to roll with Jalen Moore. Maybe Seaboldt could get some rotational work there as well. And then Kurtis and I talked about this yesterday. I mean, what Josh Simmons can be from that position, the second most important position on the field. He was there to start the year, then he wasn't, then he comes back, he gets the injury in Dallas, season over. With a quarterback coming off of a knee injury like Patrick Mahomes, in my opinion, next to the wide receiver room figuring it out, the running back room improving, that's where I'm looking to, because he needs to be out there and producing all 17 games of the regular season and the postseason, because this is the 1 year going into it where there is concern about Patrick Mahomes' health and having unstableness at left tackle. It could be disastrous for this team. So is that maybe a point of emphasis of we got to know by the end of training camp he is the guy moving forward and we don't have any concerns other than, of course, a random injury that can just happen in a game? No doubt about it.
No doubt. We talked about how much investment they've made in the interior. They've invested on the tackles big time too. The Jalen Moore contract, a first round pick with Simmons. So, yeah, they have put a lot into this offensive line, and the tackles. They first of all, Simmons has to be there. They just have he only played, I think, 8 games, 8 or 9. It ended up being 8 or 9 games, personal reasons, and then the injury. When he played, he was above average. I thought he was above average, and the metrics suggest that he's above average. The right side was the bigger problem, the bigger issue. Now, with Jalen Moore, here's your chance to earn your contract, and it was a big investment. I think the Chiefs felt like they had to overspend to help shore up that side of the offensive line, and we'll see. That to me that's one of the bigger question marks for this. I've got a handful of question marks for this team, and right tackle is on that list. We'll see. You mentioned Seaboldt a little while ago. Andy Reid was asked about him today and had a lot of praise for him. Usually, if you speak Andy Reid, when he'll try to play it down the middle when it comes to, never criticizes and doesn't try to be overly enthusiastic about somebody. But he had nice things to say about Seaboldt. So don't be surprised if he gets more reps going forward.
Well, I thought it was pretty impressive stepping in late last season. I know those games.
For an undrafted guy.
Undrafted guy with not a lot of football experience to begin with, and I thought he was fine. I mean, to be thrown in the fire, I'm sure at the beginning of the year, if you would have told him you're starting games at the end of the year, he never would have believed you.
Big guy, athletic.
Yeah, pretty nimble.
Yeah, yep.
I know one of the question marks you have to have is about this wide receiver room. And the news last week of Rashee Rice, the knee cleanup, the jail time. There's a lot going on with Rashee Rice. And I have to ask you, how do you play this if you're Kansas City? Because I know there's the thought process of, well, don't kick him off the team because somebody will pick him up, and then he's going to be playing elsewhere. And, yeah, he might be suspended, he might not, but you might as well just have him on the roster, and then at season's end, it's a contract year, you're not worrying about paying him again. Or do you have to be more harsh of, look, we can't go into this year not knowing if our number one wide receiver is going to screw up yet again and be a problem, be a cancer to the team? Because I have to imagine front office, coaching staff, and players have to be incredibly frustrated that he's been given opportunity after opportunity, and he completely botches it every single time.
Yeah, it's such just a frustrating story with him. I think the Chiefs, I'm pretty sure they've decided he's going to be a Chief. What kind of surprised everybody was after the news of almost immediately after the news of the jail time based on breaking his probation conditions came out as the knee cleanup, the surgery. What? Where's this coming from? And so, the mind wanders here. How's he getting treatment?
Yeah.
Behind bars.
I saw Mitchell Schwartz posted and said, "Oh, not exactly the best thing for a rehab plan."
No. What's his call from the jailhouse? Is it to Rick Burkholder?
Well, what do I do next? How are you trying to fashion things out of a toothbrush to use as how do you do that? If he's in a county jail,
use the bed sheet as a compression sleeve.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, he's going to use that as use body weight, whatever they call that.
It's so, Chiefs fans just want to love their players. They want to love their team and love their players, and he makes it so hard.
Yes.
To do that.
Because
go ahead.
Because I mean, it isn't like, what are the conditions? The reason he clearly doesn't seem to care that much about his teammates, because he knows their wide receiver room is thin, and he's going to miss OTAs and mini camp because he's in jail, and he's going to miss his good rehab because he's in jail, because he couldn't just not get high.
Yeah.
Just don't do that, and you can be an NFL wide receiver and have freedom
and catch passes from Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah. Right. Just follow the conditions of your sentence here.
Well, I thought Seren made a good point. It would have been last week when this news came out of, if you were to ask him, do you care more about the Kansas City Chiefs and football or weed? It's not the Kansas City Chiefs. We know the answer. Yeah. There is no way you can spin it and say this guy actually cares about being out there.
Because he doesn't think he has to make that choice. He thinks he can have both.
And you can't.
Hasn't been convinced. I mean, he would say, if you asked him straight up one or the other, he'd probably say the Chiefs. But he doesn't think he doesn't think he has to make that. But that decision. And he clearly did.
When it was the Tyreek Hill situation, when they drafted him out of West Alabama at the spot they did, very criticized for that selection because of what had happened in Stillwater with Oklahoma State. But there was the conversations of, there is no second opportunity. Now there was that one, was it 2019, where it was the abuse case again that then eventually got dropped on draft day. And so that could have been seen as, that's another striker, we're going to give you another opportunity. But with Rashee Rice, you would have thought after the car accident, okay, that you're lucky, A, to be alive, B, that it didn't get much worse from that point. You got to actually play once your suspension was up. You didn't play well. But overall, I don't know how you could convince anybody, well, this time's going to be different. I mean, the worst case scenario is, would it not be him coming back, playing very well, 6 games into the season, and then boom, something else happens again, and now he's not available? Like, you get into the groove of everything. Other receivers are falling in line of, he's the number 1, I'm the 2, he's the 3, he's the 4, and your offense is humming, and then something else happens. I don't think you can go through every single week expecting him to be there because he's just broken that trust. And the Chiefs are probably going to keep him around and expect him to be ready week one, assuming the rehab process and jail goes well and everything like that. But are you satisfied with the wide receiver room? I mean,
Well, no.
Xavier Worthy's the number 2.
And he was in the yellow jersey today at practice because of still recovering from shoulder surgery. There's Tyquan Thornton, who had a good start to last year. I'm not 100% convinced that he's I think he can be a useful wide receiver.
Maybe what Justin Watson was.
Maybe. I do what little we've seen of Cyrus Allen, the rookie, like him, made a couple of really nice catches today, but it isn't a position group that fills you with a lot of confidence. I still and their salary cap situation is such that they're not going to get the big name guys. So Juju's still out there, and that's that maybe he can be the adult in the room. They could sign him for his 1 year for whatever $3 million, whatever it ends up being. That might be the way to go. But no, I don't have a lot of faith and trust, and I have more in Patrick Mahomes turning wide receivers into talented wide receivers, maybe ordinary or average wide receivers into better than they are type wide receivers. We've seen it throughout his career. So maybe that's the best way for me to feel. And if this running game does improve, if we get a running game that I'm hoping, and I'm thinking the 2018, 2019 when Kareem Hunt was not a rookie but second year, and Damian Williams early his years in Kansas City when it really was a threat. The Chiefs had a running game threat that'll help the passing game.
I want to talk a little bit more about the running game on the other side of this break, but let's take one right now. You're listening to the program on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Wrapping up our segment with Blair Kirchhoff here on the program on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Before you go, Blair, I do want to get your thoughts on the running game here. We talked a little bit about Kenneth Walker, but specifically the secondary options, because when you brought up 2018 Kareem Hunt, there also was Damian Williams, there was Darrell Williams. I believe at some point Spencer Ware was back.
There was Daryl Damian.
Charkandrick West was there. I mean, it was
Willie
there was a
Damian.
lot of running backs that year. But now you have Emmett Johnson, who you traded up for, a very successful back at Nebraska. You bring in Amari DiMercado. Brashard Smith, you brought up earlier today, getting more reps at the running back position. Do you think that's going to be more of a, you see Kenneth Walker for 15 carries, maybe Emmett Johnson for 5 or 6, DiMercado for a carry or 2, or maybe he's used in the screen game a bit more? Or is this going to be, we paid Kenneth Walker a lot of money, we're going to be giving him the lion's share of the carries, and these other guys got to be ready, but they may get anywhere from 4 to 5 snaps a game?
Maybe, but that would be contrary to what we've seen from the Chiefs. To have a, I mean, look, Pacheco as a rookie was 900 yards, right? And clearly the number one back, and he was the number one back going into the next season as well. But more often than not, you haven't had that type of alpha back. But Kenneth Walker's just a different guy than what the Chiefs have had really since Kareem Hunt's early year, rookie and second year. So, yeah, I kind of do see Chris, you know this. Is Kareem the last 1,000-yard rusher for the Chiefs? Kareem Hunt?
Yeah, it would have to
yes,
be.
he is.
His rookie
Rookie
year.
17?
Yeah, rookie year. From
Mahomes has never had one.
no. And from an organization that's had a lot of those, Jamal Charles and Larry Johnson and Priest Holmes and a lot of 1,000-yard, Christian Okoye. I think Kenneth Walker is going to be the next one. Maybe a 1,200-yard rushing season. I can see that. Emphasis on the run, and now a guy who can, looks the part. He looks like a running back who can carry the load.
You don't see many running back. He's got guns. I mean, he
Yeah,
looks
the
like,
picture earlier
he
today,
has,
that
he
is
has
a
seen the inside of
large
a
man.
He has seen the inside of a gym.
Yes, he has.
Maybe just a time or two. Blair, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you. See you next week.
Need to Know coming up next.
All right, what team was the most games under 500 that made the MLB playoffs? Brought to you by La Feta Delicatessen.
Hour number 4 of the program on Sports Radio 810 WHB. I am your host, Jack Johnson, filling in for Seren Petro. Todd Lebo will have you tomorrow. Kurtis will be there as well. Same with Kyle. They're only swapping out me.
Do you know how many times I've been referred to as will also be there? I am the king of will also be there.
I won't
Featuring.
be there. I'll be back here.
Featuring.
Kyle's the king of will not be there.
Will not be there. He will be back here. You guys are going to be at Unlimited RV in Independence. Should be a great listen.
Yeah.
And then on Monday, I will be back again. And then you should have Seren. I believe Seren will be back on Tuesday, back to normal. But yeah, lots of changing around. We got to stay on our toes as utility guys. Lebo and I doing the same thing. You got to host different shows. You got to do different things. But we do know what you need to know. We've got more audio coming your way. Talked a lot of Chiefs with Blair Kirchhoff in the 4 o'clock hour. Missed any of that, you can check it out on the podcast page. But yes, Chiefs football on your timeline, and it's about to be over the airwaves. Stuff that we heard from Andy Reid, stuff that we heard from Patrick Mahomes. Very much looking forward to this. So as soon as we get the thumbs up from Kyle, should be good to go here. So let's start it off here. We know that Rashee Rice is not there. He's dealing with the knee cleanup. He's also in jail, so that is why he is not available. But Andy Reid gave us...
I just love that we have to do that.
That's probably the craziest legitimate injury designation.
I think the first thing would be, sorry to cut you off, guys, would be in jail. Also, he has the knee.
Also a knee injury.
Because the knee injury, you could
it's
work
kind of
around
second
that.
fiddle.
You could actually
to be honest.
that.
Rice.
I should
knee,
probably not
jail.
bury the lead. He is not there.
If he was healthy, he still couldn't be there because he's behind bars.
Yes. That's the first time I can recall anybody in the NFL not being available, and it would show up of he's not here, he's in jail.
Is it a holdout? No, it's actually a hold-in.
No, it is. It's voluntary. He doesn't have to be there.
He's held inside a cell.
But Andy Reid gave us what he could about Rice.
As far as Rashee goes, we're aware of the situation. The league's aware of it. We've talked to the league. We get it. And as far as any further ado to that, there's been no talk about anything further. We're moving forward just normal as we go here. When he gets back, we got to get him caught up and doing what he needs to do. But again, and then to make sure he gets it. It's not an easy thing he's going through. So life lessons are important, but we're all given chances to learn, and so he's in that position now. I think I've covered it. You guys, time's yours.
Question, Coach. Just following up on that. Do you and does the team do you all still trust Rashee with his judgment making?
Yeah, I was just going to leave it with what I said there. Yeah, I mean, I know lessons can be learned, and that's important.
Regarding the knee with Rashee and not the off-field issues, how did that play in meeting that cleanup procedure, and do you expect him to be ready by camp?
Yeah, so we think he'll be ready for camp as we go forward. We'll just see how it goes. He's been in communication with Rick, and he knows the rehab that he can do there, and I think they're keeping an eye on him, as far as any possible infection goes.
So Andy Reid tried to just answer the question and move on.
Mm-hmm.
There, I've addressed it or something along those lines, but
It's usually it's coaches.
That wasn't going to stand.
I take a little bit of issue in him saying it's a tough thing he's going through. It's actually incorrect. It's a tough thing he's putting himself through.
Yeah.
This is not. Yes, the knee injury is a tough thing he's going through because he had a knee problem. The jail aspect is not. Sure, it's probably not fun. I'm sure it's not fun for anybody involved in that situation, including Andy Reid not having his number one wide receiver. But it goes back to this is his doing. Mm-hmm. He's the one that's getting in trouble. He has nobody to blame but himself.
There's the cartoon you see of the person riding the bike, and then they stick a stick inside their own spoke, and the next thing they're laying on the ground going, who did this to me? That's Rashee Rice.
You did. You are the one that puts yourself into this predicament. And as we were discussing with Blair, many guys his age approach a contract year and they realize they could be setting themselves up for life. Their life, their children's lives, a lot of people in their family. And all he's doing is just throwing money out the window over and over again. But that was Andy Reid.
This is the opposite of that.
Opposite of wanting to make money. You are only hurting yourself. A guy that is going through a tough thing. This wasn't by his own doing. Unfortunately, during a game against the Los Angeles Chargers, Patrick Mahomes suffered the worst injury he's ever suffered in his professional career. But Andy Reid was asked what he saw from Mahomes this week.
I like what I've seen. He's working hard. This is good for him. I mean, getting out there and throwing is good rehab as he, continued rehab, so he keeps the feel with the receivers where he's doing partial practice but it's important. It's important to keep his timing up, and he's busted his tail to put himself in this position. Most guys wouldn't even be able to do this, but he's put himself in that position, and I know we've got good communication with the doctors, and they keep a close eye on it and what's real and what's not real. So, and then we listen to them.
What I can take satisfaction in is, in Andy Reid being here for so long, has he ever rushed a player back from injury?
Not that I can recall.
I can't recall one either. In fact, it's almost been so cautionary that people get frustrated. I mean, remember the Eric Berry situation? Day to day, week to week.
Yeah.
And then he finally showed up.
His spirit wasn't feeling it.
Spirit wasn't feeling it. But still, it was, we're not rushing him back until he's 100%. And Patrick Mahomes, if you were to ask him right now, he'd say, I'm playing. But at the end of the day, this will be Andy Reid's call on if he's going to play in this one against Denver, one of the best defenses you'll see all season long. So I'm not as concerned about, oh boy, if he's out there, he could get hurt. Well, yeah, that's the case for any football game, right?
Right.
You can get hurt at any point in time. But if he's running out of the tunnel and the place is going crazy on Monday Night Football, we'll obviously know before then if he's going to be playing or not. But I got a lot of confidence that the Chiefs think there's no reason to be concerned there. We all will be just a little bit anxious because we haven't seen him throw a football in a live game since that loss to the Chargers. But Andy Reid's not going to force the issue here. If he's at 99.6, it's Justin Fields against the Denver Broncos. At least that's my take on that. And we talked to Price yesterday. We talked to Blair 30 minutes ago. And he said what Price said. I kind of expected, wouldn't surprise me if Patrick Mahomes is out there in week one. Andy Reid said he's progressing well. He's seen him throw, and I think that's a good thing for everybody.
I'd be more surprised if he wasn't.
I'm kind of at that point, too.
Yeah.
I've heard too much
of 75-25.
No, it's...
It ain't 55-45 either.
It's just it's a severe injury, but when you're hearing all these things of progressing well, doesn't seem to be too many limitations. Andy Reid was also asked what kind of precautions they put in place for Pat.
Yeah, we just keep him out of the team portion. Other than that, he's doing a good job with everything else. So he can travel under center as long as I just don't want him in any area where there might be a sweep coming, the jet sweep action or something of that sort. So we got to keep him out of those situations.
That's the thing you heard Blair refer to last hour. Like he can travel with the center.
No,
I never
travel
heard it
with the center.
Quite put that way.
I had never.
Where
really,
are they going? They go in the across the street.
Yeah. Move around with them.
Quick
Stay
trip.
with Creed. I never really thought about the jet sweep being something you watch out for in recovering from a knee injury. You got a young rookie that's a little bit spastic, and all of a sudden they clip your knee, and there you go. All the progressions you made are gone.
Doesn't read it right, runs into the back of a lineman.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have anyone moving around him.
That's why you don't need him to do anything other than 7-on-7.
Because he just loses his balance and falls. Just even not even run into. If someone comes a little close and he has to jump back.
Think about RPOs, too. I mean, that's why I would just stick to 7-on-7. You're back there throwing the football. You don't need a running back trying to keep the ball, and then all of a sudden you could plant wrong. You step on the foot. He tries to pull the foot out, and you get shaken up a little bit.
I would imagine no quarterback sneaks.
If you ever believed it was coming back before, there is negative 2 billion% chance you will ever. It's a good thing, though, that we have we have Justin Fields to do that, or Garrett Nussmeier.
I
that
thought
question.
Carson Wentz was possibly going to be that guy to bring back the quarterback sneak. He was like 6'5", 225.
Yeah, he
Didn't
can
see with
do
him
the
either.
Brady thing, just
And
big and
here's the
strong
thing.
and lean forward.
If you do it right, it doesn't matter if people know that you're going to quarterback sneak. If they bring Justin Fields on and they're like, oh, I think they're going to sneak it here, well, then maybe roll out. Maybe a little PA boot.
I mean, every time Tom Brady did the
We knew it was
quarterback
coming.
sneak, everyone knew it, and he still
The
got
brotherly
it.
shove, the tush push. It's you knew it was coming, and you couldn't stop it until they flag it, and they move you back 5 yards. They're going to continue to do it. Let's move on to what Patrick Mahomes had to say here, because that's another guy we obviously want to hear from. And he was asked how this week has gone for him.
It was good, it's good to be back on the field and just be with the guys. I think more than anything, when you're some of those days you're rehab and you're kind of here by yourself or with a couple of the other guys, and you kind of get that juice whenever everyone gets back in the building. So it was good to be out there and be able to take part in a little bit of the practice.
How you doing with the brace?
I wore a brace in college, so I'm on the same knee, and so it's not too different than what I've felt before, and so now it's just kind of just getting adjusted to it. But obviously I'm not like running and cutting and doing all that stuff in it yet, so that'll get another adjustment period at some point. But it's good to get these reps now, so I can kind of speed that adjustment period along.
Just getting into the swing of things is what he needs to be doing right now. Just needs to get comfortable out there, throwing to different guys, the guys he's going to be throwing to this season. Don't need to overdo it. And I honestly thought with what Blair was discussing with training camp and preseason football, I found it pretty interesting that week one he said I could expect to see Fields and Mahomes getting those number one reps. Maybe one drive for Patrick Mahomes. That's usually what they do anyway. But to play in the preseason, is that something, Kurtis, that you envision, or do you think it's necessary? Does he need any sort of reps there?
Probably not.
Yeah.
I mean, did they get almost no reps when he's completely healthy?
Yeah.
Maybe one series, but I think it's a somewhat high likelihood that you won't see him until the regular season.
Yeah, I think he'll be just fine practicing and throwing to these guys. You don't need to overdo it.
One of those things maybe where, like that opening week, they always talk about like the main goals are just to make sure they can facilitate the game. Are they getting the play in? New offensive coordinator, an offensive coordinator who Patrick Mahomes has worked with, but a lot of the guys on the offense haven't, as we'll hear Pat here in a moment, getting the play in. They always talk about that first game. When we want to make sure we get the plays in time and get things called, they might need one dress rehearsal for that in a game, but not much beyond that. If he plays more than one series, I'll be surprised.
Yeah, I'm with you lockstep there. Okay, let's hear what Patrick Mahomes was asked what his typical workday is like.
Yeah, right now, with the practices, it gets a little bit longer. But, you come in early in the morning, you rehab and kind of get everything moving around. Then you go to meetings. You come down, you warm up before practice, go to practice, and then you come out of practice. Usually I'd be rehabbing right now. Brad's got me in here. But then you go to meetings again, and then you end up going and rehabbing it after, and then I go home and then chase kids around until I fall asleep.
Sounds like if
you want a little bit
better
of
night than
insight.
day.
Yeah, a lot of movement for him. The only break he gets is when he's talking to the media. With that new routine, there's new coaches that are going to be around camp all the time moving forward. One is a returning coach in Eric Bieniemy, who I'm sure Patrick Mahomes will be communicating with almost on a daily basis. But Andy Reid was asked what he's seen from his new offensive coaches.
Listen, I like the old coaches' job, so I don't want to slight them, but it's good to have these guys in there. They've got some experience at their spots, and they're challenging the guys with the fundamentals and techniques, the thing they can get done now. DeMarco's Casey's been there as a player. He's got a good relationship with EB. EB also knows that spot like the back of his hand. So, and then as far as Chad goes, Chad is got 24 years in this league, so he's got a lot of experience and coached a lot of really good players, and so it's good to have him in that spot in that room. And then EB brings great energy. He knows everything. He's got it all down, and he can coach any spot, and he does a great job with it.
Wouldn't you love to be a fly on the wall and hearing Eric Bieniemy talk to Rashee Rice once he he comes back.
Yeah,
that
would,
accountability. I mean, would you not want to know what was said?
It would certainly be of note.
Yeah. DeMarco Murray, too, being able to work in that running back room. A couple of guys have to be stoked playing for a guy that was so widely regarded as one of the best college backs out there. He's now been coaching at both levels. I know there wasn't the greatest reaction when he was brought in. You might be thinking, well, they need to go out there and get maybe someone like Eric Bieniemy. Then you go hire another OC to bring maybe a different mindset. But and having EB, you're not going to hear many guys on this team say a bad thing about him. Getting fired up, there's tons of energy, the accountability part. Then you bring in some of the fresh blood with someone like DeMarco Murray. Brings up Chad O'Shea as well, working with the wide receivers. I'm getting the sense that there's more experience and guys that know how to coach that position based on what we saw a year ago. So we heard Andy Reid talk about the new guys. Patrick Mahomes said the younger players are in for an experience.
I mean, they still haven't seen EB yet. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna say he's taking it easy. He's still pushing the guys, but they have. He holds them to a standard. They haven't had those days because it's usually training camp when guys get tired and they lose kind of that will to kind of finish and to kind of do all the exact right things, and that's when EB's going to hold you to that standard. And so we haven't gotten to there yet, but as long as you keep having good practices, we can prolong that as long as possible. But I love it, man. I truly do, and I think you can feel it in the meeting rooms, like the way he carries himself with the confidence that he carries himself with. I think it really focuses you in on what you're learning, the little details of things, and so it's been exciting to me. That first meeting had me run through a brick wall, man. It had me ready to go.
Yeah, you will not have an issue being motivated in hearing Eric Bieniemy talk. That was never an issue, right? You might have at the very end of his time, there was the frustration with certain play calls. Here's where I stand on it. Andy Reid has a lot of influence in the play calls as well. I feel like we've always known that. But to me, what last year's team really lacked was just that we brought up, hotheads and just like somebody that could, get in your face, had no problem checking you. Travis Kelce, we've seen him,
and not necessarily so much in the game, but during the week, as well. And that's what Eric Bieniemy certainly was.
Well, it's good, too. You're coming off of a 6-11 season. There is no arrogance going into training camp. And if there is arrogance, Eric Bieniemy is going to knock it out of you pretty quickly. Let's get to one more here before we hit a break. New guys isn't just a term for rookies coming in. Kenneth Walker, the blue chip guy coming in from free agency. Blair said a true alpha back that can be taking the lion's share of the carries, as they would say, a bell cow running back. Andy Reid was asked how Walker looks.
Yeah, you know what? He's doing a good job. He's got a ton of energy, and you can tell he loves to play the game, wants to learn what we're doing here. He's coming from a great program, so he gets it. It takes work to be good, and he's willing to do that. Stronger than Knox. I mean, he's put together now.
Yeah, he's not lying on that. Just go to Twitter and type in Kenneth Walker's name, and the picture that comes up from earlier today, as you said, Curtis, I don't think he's a stranger to the gym.
No, he's seen the inside.
No, I mean, look, there's been some big running backs out there, and he's not height-wise he's not Derrick Henry is what I'm getting at here, but I wouldn't want to stand in front of him and trying to make an open field tackle or just 4th and 1. You got to body up, but these linebackers, these edge rushers, defensive tackles, they're big fellas as well. But I think Kenneth Walker is going to be a refreshing change for the Chiefs running back room here in 2026/2027. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, talk some Royals baseball with David Lesky on the program. We continue our final hour of the program on Sports Radio 810 WHB. I am your fill-in host, Jack Johnson. Kurtis Seaboldt here. Kyle Collier producing. Let's talk more Royals baseball with David Leske to close out our show. You're staying for 2 segments here, so we can get into a lot here. But, David, thanks for joining us.
You can't make me stay and talk to Royals, all right? I'm not. You can't force me to talk.
I guess I can't. Yeah, I can't force you.
We can ask
if you want
will
to.
You? Will you please?
Fine, I'll do it.
Beg you. We need to get through these final 30 minutes because we've already talked about him a lot. But I want to open it up here, and then we'll get into some audio here from Matt Quatrero. But during Stump the Chumps earlier, Kyle asked the question, or maybe it was there can be only one.
Nailed it
that time, yeah. Of when will the last game that Alex Zumwalt coach be? I said June 1st after this Ranger series. Lebo actually said not till the season's over. I want to say Pete said July 1st.
Pete and I both said July 1st.
July 1st. Curtis said it's happened already. He said he has already coached his final game.
So what time will he be?
I thought it was the last game that he.
Well, but same answer.
I said last day of employment.
Last day of employment.
And I said tomorrow.
Tomorrow. What say you, Leske?
I'm going to agree with Curtis.
Okay.
I think that when they take the field tomorrow, Marcus Thames is the lead hitting coach, and that's that.
Wow.
Marcus Thames. So I guess my thought would be, why Marcus Thames over Connor Dawson? Would it be because Thames just has the experience of being a lead hitting coach before?
I think you got to give somebody the title.
That's fair. They're all doing the same thing.
Yeah, and it's the division of labor will not be any different. But Thames has been the lead guy before. Dawson's 33. He's never done it. I don't think it ultimately matters. But, I could be wrong. I'm wrong all the time. In fact, I'm very rarely right. So, but I think if that's what happens, I think I would guess they'd give it to the guy who's done it and the guy who's got the big league experience and the guy who's, been there before, where Dawson's younger. I mean, he's
there's guys that are older than him in the line.
He makes me feel very old.
Yes.
And I don't I remember growing up, my dad told me, he said at one point, he's like, you will not feel old when you're older than the players. He said, you'll feel old when you're older than the managers and coaches. And he was right.
True.
He was 100% right.
I mean, Dawson's only 6 years older than me.
Wow.
So it's not like.
So you're getting
49.
Well, I'm getting there.
The Nationals. I mean, you got the 30. What is he? What is he?
31,
33. And I still think it's hilarious. Their sponsors AARP, and they've got a 33-year-old GM and a 31-year-old manager.
Quite funny.
That is fair. I do want to touch on a little bit. You said, well, I don't think ultimately it's going to matter. So in making a move like this, which to clarify, you don't believe Zumwalt will be fired. He'll be reassigned back to the front office, or is it?
I'd be surprised. They love him. And he's been an organizational guy for so long and important to the organization. I mean, you think about the 2015 playoffs.
Yeah.
They'd probably still win, but some of the things that he found as an advanced scout and doing his work were so important to the team. He's been around forever. And I'm not even saying he's miscast. They have not hit well under him. And so technically he has done a poor job. But the results under him have been poor. I still will die on the hill that a hitting coach is far less important than most people believe. But, somebody's got to pay the price, right? Like this offense was supposed to be much better than it is, and they had a stretch where you thought, okay, they figured it out.
Supposed to be, yeah.
And then they fell back into this, and the problem that I've had with Zumwalt since he started is not the slumps; it's that the slumps go for so long, and so he, as hitting coach, he has not been able to pull the hitters out of this. Many times. This is not the first extended hitting slump they've had, but I do think they believe in his work organizationally. And if he wants to stay, I would guess that he gets to stay.
It is weird to think that a year ago, Vinny Pasquantino was 30 and 100 with ease.
Yeah.
With the same hitting apparatus around him that's there now, and it's not happening. It's like, well, wait a minute, this is the same guy. I'm not saying this is what I think is the full truth. I'm saying it'd be easy for someone to go, well, why is it the hitting coach? He was there a year ago. But we all know about swinging a bat and hitting a baseball is a difficult thing to keep consistent.
Well, and it's
the
all
whole point of a
reaction,
hitting
too.
coach is to be able to spot, okay, you're doing this now, and when you were doing this and do this, and I'm sure Vinny has looked at ample tape and has tried, but it hasn't come together. I
Well,
also question whether he's entirely healthy if the back is
I-
a problem. So
I agree with that, but it's a similar question to the base running last year.
Yeah.
Which base running was the numbers were terrible last year, and I made the joke multiple times. I said I really think they should fire Damon Hollins and hire 2024 Damon Hollins.
Yes.
Because the base running was great
Yes,
in 24, and then it was bad in 25. Is it the coach? Is it the players? I'm always going to say, look, let's blame the players for things that happen. It's okay. You're allowed to say that Vinny
Yeah.
Pasquantino has stunk. If he was listening, he would probably go, "Yep, I sure have."
Yeah.
Like
Well, to that base running point, and I do agree with
I have
you
a
on
point
that,
on that as well when you're done.
because everybody had the outrage over the Boston game where it was Garcia getting thrown out trying to go to second on the throw home from Abreu, and I guess he just made. To me, that was not Damon Holland saying, go to.
Right.
That was an instinctual, he's throwing home, I'm going to make it, the throw's going to be up the line, and I can get there safely. He wasn't, and Jensen was at third, and that ultimately hurt the Royals. Then there was the play, I want to say Massey, maybe the day before or whatnot, but he hesitated on the ground ball through the left side, and Vance Wilson sent him home, and he got thrown out at the plate. And a lot of people are going to go, that's Vance Wilson's fault. He sent him. That was also off Sonny Gray. They knew they weren't going to score enough. But also it's Michael Massey not getting the best read on a ball that you have to get a great read on.
Well, Garcia said Holland sent him.
Oh, so he did say. I missed that.
Yeah, he said Damon said go.
Okay, then I guess that does does work against.
What I also thought was interesting about that, really fast on the Garcia one, if you go back and listen to the audio, Mac Quatrero said Garcia made the right read, not made the right decision, made the right read. Because and then Garcia after the game said he wasn't hustling out of the box,
Yeah.
and I put it up on Inside the Crowd. I had a screenshot where the ball was in the air, and what I said in the article was you should have seen him in this picture, but he wasn't because he wasn't there yet, and I do wonder if maybe Damon Hollins was, and not to make excuses, but like he very easily could have said go because he thought Garcia was where he should have been, but he wasn't there yet. Because you can only see so many things at once. Your eyes don't go in different directions. So I thought the Quatrero wording was interesting is he made the right read, not he made the right call.
Yeah. The other interesting thing about the base running issues is that it's easy to say, well, and I think it's probably accurate, when you hear Matt Quatrero talk, it's clear that regardless of how many times they get thrown out, that he feels like they're a team that doesn't have a lot of power, occasionally has a hard time hitting with runners on base or in scoring positions. So
occasionally
when
is a very nice way to put
it. Occasionally the sun is up.
Yes.
During the day.
Occasionally the clock changes every minute.
This is true. That they're going to keep doing it because he said it's worth getting some guys thrown out if you're going to be able to take extra bases. If you're going to do that as often as you are, that's every time you send a guy, you run the risk of him doing something dumb.
Yeah.
So part of the reason that they've had so many guys who have made so many toot plans this year is born out of the fact that they run so frequently.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it comparable where, and maybe it's because Brian Sweeney's had far more success in Kansas City than Seaboldt has, than some of the other assistants that have been helping Seaboldt, Keone Duran last year. Is it because when you have success, fans are okay if pitchers go through struggles, whether it's a bullpen guy or starter, or is it just that there are more people that want to believe the pitcher is out there doing it all, and the hitters can get some tips on how to prepare better? Because I think when starters don't progress, we see the regression, and it's not injury related. I mean, it's a little bit of the pitchers and also the preparation, the game plan. And I love Brian Sweeney. Brian Sweeney's a damn good coach, but I think far too often it's because Seaboldt hasn't had the numbers. Therefore, when pitchers struggle, you go, well, it's the pitcher. He's struggling there. Because the hitters at the end of the day, they're the ones up there identifying the pitch, swinging, putting bat to ball, trying to hit it hard, try to move runners over, and they're not doing it.
Yeah, 100%. And we talk about hitting coaches, pitching coaches. Hitting coaches are great outside of the game. I don't know what they do other than, hey, I noticed this, I noticed that. You're reacting to a pitch. I mean, a hitting coach can't be whispering in your ear, hey, that was 95. you need to swing a little bit earlier. No, the pitch, the bat's happening, and you react to that. The pitching coach they drive the action. So I think a pitching coach can actually do more in a game than a hitting coach can. But so I think you're right that
it's offensive coordinator versus defensive coordinator.
Exactly. Yeah, totally. And so it's so interesting because you're right. People don't. Chris Bubic goes out. His bad example because he hasn't pitched in 2 weeks, but goes out and gives up 6 runs in 4 innings. Oh, Bubic had a bad game. Not Sweeney coached him poorly.
Yep.
Which I would argue with Sweeney coached him poorly in that scenario too. But because he had success, well, Brian Sweeney can't be. He's good. He's been good, so this is not on him. I do think it's actually an interesting conversation with Brian Sweeney that the pitching has regressed with Zach Bove gone.
And the White Sox have gotten
better
this year.
Yeah, in a lot of ways. You've seen like Davis Martin take that step forward. I think that's not to say that Brian Sweeney was a Zach Bove creation. I don't think that's the case. I think that maybe Sweeney and Mike McFerrin are not
as a team they
getting
were
there
better
yet.
than
And that's okay. And we'll see how Sweeney and Bove were. The pitching staff was pretty bad their first year in 2023.
Mm-hmm.
The players they had weren't great either, but yeah, I do think that when you have that success, it allows you a little grace, which, maybe fair, maybe not. I don't know.
I guess where I'm at when it comes to the struggles, because to me, you can fire who you want to. It's more of a statement of you guys performed so poorly, it cost somebody their job, and you're hoping it ignites some sort of pressure into, okay, this fresh change, we go now. We're 0-0, even though you're not. But you got to basically turn it into a second season, a second start, where I'm more so focused on the guys who are not performing. I don't think replacing Seaboldt with Timms or Dawson is going to all of a sudden make Vinny Pasquantino hit .310 the rest of the way, or Salvador Perez to reach 30 home runs this year, or Isaac Collins to revert back to what he was last year. Because why?
Or what he was 3 weeks ago.
Or he was 3 weeks ago, yeah. To me, I'm going, what would Connor Dawson and Marcus Timms be saying that Alex Seaboldt is not? Because if you have 3 hitting coaches that all are saying different things, how is that going to help a hitter? It's all the same preparation, so it's more so of we're doing this to send a message. And I'm wondering what is going on with Vinny, what is going on with Garcia, looking more like those slumps in 24 where it gets really hot, and then it's a lot of first pitch outs, and it's a lot of reaching, and it's a lot of rolling over. And Carter Jensen going through probably more of a sophomore slump, same with Caglione, and not having, I don't think you need to throw them out there every single day. You can play the matchups and get them going, but what is it with this team in not having these guys find some sort of consistency? Because they had it there for about 13 games, and now it's been completely erased.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what would be different. But you're right. I think most of the time when you make a change midseason, it is less about this person can help. Making that change can help. The actual change can help rather than the shock of the change. And especially if you're going to keep 2 of the 3 hitting coaches, which is kind of the reverse of what they did in the offseason. My opinion, I said this before, I understand what they were doing. I understand that they made Alex Seaboldt kind of the CEO of the hitting, and 2 guys they brought in are coaching them, and he's instilling the play and all that. If you're going to fire 2, fire all 3. Or reassign Seaboldt, which, again, I think that would probably be what happens if he wants to do that. That would be his call. But if you're doing it mid-season, you're doing it to send a message. And or spark something or whatever. You're not changing anything in all likelihood. And the reality is if you try to change something in a hitter mid-season, you're probably going to see a longer slump. Real changes don't happen in late May. Real changes happen in November, December.
And the idea that if Marcus Timms could have a better idea at how to fix Vinny Pasquantino, I'm sure if Marcus Timms
why is
knew how to fix Vinny, he's not just sitting there going, I know how to fix it, but no one's asked me.
I'm not the coach. I'm not the lead coach, so
I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the oddest thing. I mean, if you bring a manager in, if it's somebody from outside, even if that happens, I mean, if you bring in, if this guy had the answer, he would have told the main guy. Anyone who's a midseason replacement was there when the firing happened. Generally, so why wasn't he helping it? That's the weird thing about a move like that is that I don't think suddenly Vinny Pasquantino I've been doing this for 2 months. Why didn't someone tell me? Well, I was gonna.
I was reading a book in the corner. Nobody said anything. I was in the bathroom.
He said, "Don't tell him. If you know, don't tell him."
Yeah.
That's it is simply to give everyone a reset or whatever. Okay, now this is maybe there's some approach that's different, but
it's somebody needs
not
to
going to have a market.
There needs to be a
difference.
fall guy.
Yes,
and that's what it comes down to.
But managers have said, I don't know if this is a public story, so I won't say who the manager was, but some manager at one point had late in his tenure had told us that I'm going to get fired, and I should get fired because we need to clear the decks, and the next person who comes in has to be able to operate and not have to have that over the top of them. We need to say, okay, everything's there's the scapegoat. They've piled the sins on the goat, and we've driven him out into the desert, and now we can just talk about baseball again.
Yeah.
So,
from your perspective, for a team like this that won 82 games last year, won 86 in a playoff series, and one game in the ALDS the year before, are you as surprised that it's been this awful, where you're still in the back of your mind going, at some point, the laws of averages are going to favor them, and we will see 15-5 over a 20-game stretch? Or is this, it's kind of a ship sinking at this point, and it really is not going to get much better other than a good week here and there, and they're going to end up losing 90-plus games?
I mean, I'm surprised by what we've seen. I thought they were going to win 87 games, and most people did. This is
it wasn't just Kansas City-based
right.
people.
It was national writers. It was projection systems. It was all these everybody. Kind of universally, it was Royals and Tigers, the two best teams in the division, and they are
two worst
teams in the division
by a wide margin.
Both teams have had injuries. The Tigers' injuries, I think, have been more damning because one of them is Tarek Skubal, and that's hurt them quite a bit. They were a game over 500 when he got hurt. They are 22.
They're same record as Royals. Yeah,
no, they lost today, I think.
Oh, so then they're
a half game back. Yeah,
sweet out of last place.
Yes, a whole half game
Take
up.
that.
They've already moved up a game in the standings just by a spot just by not playing.
Today has been one of the Royals' best days in the last 2 weeks.
It's the first time they've jumped a spot.
But I mean, so yeah, I think it has to be a surprise. And what's interesting is you look at the roster, and nobody will predict this, nor should they. But would it be shocking if they got it together? I mean, it's the same team that was supposed to be good.
Yeah.
If Carter Jensen, I mean, at some point he's going to hit like he did last year because he's a good hitter.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I'm saying it wouldn't be shocking because you can kind of see where it would say, well, if this happens, what happens? There aren't that many ifs.
Yeah,
because it's
still too many, but not that many.
There are too many, but the ifs aren't. Is this guy who has no track record going to break out? That's one thing.
Right.
Is Vinny Pasquantino going to get it together at the plate? That's something. That's not really a surprise. The surprise is what he's doing. So getting it together would be a return to normalcy. Would be a regression or a progression to the mean. Same thing with Maikel Garcia, or as you mentioned, Carter Jensen.
And we've seen it from Salvi a little bit.
Yeah, a
since
little
he's
bit.
been catching.
Yes, if those two things happen, that's a ripple effect in that lineup, and every situation gets a little bit better. Pitching, if Chris Bubich is healthy when he comes back, you've added an all-star starting pitcher to a rotation. Now, I'm not convinced we're going to see Cole Reagans anytime soon, because I don't know what a setback does, if that puts you back to where he was before he had the setback, or that puts you all the way back at the beginning of the procedure.
Which, by the way, real quick on that, was that odd to you guys that we're evaluating 2 to 3 days and not like
Yeah, we're going to shut
10
him out
days?
for 2 to 3 days.
2 to 3 days was a weird number.
That's
to
quick
me.
turnaround.
It was, and I thought that's why I thought does that mean that after those 2 or 3 days he goes back to where he was before, or where he goes back to the very beginning of the procedure? What does that mean?
And I don't know if that's good or bad.
Yeah.
It could be that there's some swelling that we need to wait for, or it's we're not too worried.
Strange.
It was an odd timing.
But the way Waka's throwing, and the way Lugo has been able to throw, Cameron, you've seen what Kolek has done. I mean, if that can be some semblance of that, and you get Bubich back,
and Matt Strom should be back,
and so you're getting healthy in the arms, and your RBI guy and your clubhouse heart is suddenly hitting the ball over the fence. That can lead you back.
That's a great point that you make, that the ifs are all ifs with the track record.
Yes.
Except for Jensen and Caglione are not track record.
But everything else is just, can a guy who was once good be good again? Can a guy who has
not once good last year.
Yeah, who was good.
Yeah.
Now, can guys who were good last year be good again this year? That's why they were supposed to be better than this. That's why this record is such a surprise, because the guys who were here were good last year, and there's no reason for them not to be good this year.
The good news is they're done with the Yankees.
That's for sure.
There is,
unless they see him again after this miraculous turnaround.
Tell you what, if the Royals see the Yankees again this year,
I don't take it.
It's been a nice
if
year.
the Royals see the Yankees, I don't care if they get swept.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that
That's
right
one
now.
heck of a
Same
comeback.
scores that happened this week.
I'll take it.
I look back to, we'll use the Tigers for this example, because so often in baseball, it's a sample size thing, right? People that are dealing with a struggling team usually say, well, there's time. There's 162. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And there's people that would say after 10 games, they're bad. And sometimes they're right. It's like a team starts 2-8. They're probably not going to be very good unless you have some of those outliers. But I go back to the 2024 Tigers, who were largely a non-factor for 85% of that season. And I'm looking at it right now, and on August 10th, they were swept in San Francisco by the Giants, and they were 56, and actually they took only 1 of 4, but they dropped the first 3 games of the series, and they were 55 and 63, and they were 8 games below 500. The Royals are 12 games below 500 on May 29th in an incredibly weak American League. That would then mean you've got to play incredible baseball, but I'm not sure anybody at that point thought the Tigers were capable of doing what they did.
Yep.
Last year, Cleveland was, 15 games?
15 and a half, and they had a 10-game losing streak at one point.
Yes.
Yeah.
And nobody at that point thought it would be possible. That's why I'm wondering, not that the Royals can go on this 20-5 stretch, but if they did it, I guess I would be foolish in saying, wow, what a horrible baseball team actually did this. It might be the other side of the coin of they finally had stuff go right for them, where maybe, you look at this homestand, no, Boston doesn't have a good record, Seattle doesn't have a good record, the Yankees do, but on paper, those are 3 really good teams.
Yeah.
And maybe they need a stretch where not the Royals have the luxury of saying this, but weaker opponents, right? You look at Texas, that's a much weaker opponent than New York, considering the injuries they have. Cincinnati is a good team this year. Hitter-friendly ballpark, take your chances, and then who is it after that? It's to wrap up the 10-game road trip. It's
Where do they go?
It's not. Oh, it's Minnesota. Minnesota for 4 games.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah, and then they come back and play Texas here.
Yeah, so that's what I'm talking about. Where really it starts with 1. You gotta not just string together a good series. You gotta win tomorrow.
Right.
You gotta just feel good about showing up to the ballpark. But I have a hard time. Maybe it's me being an optimist. I have a really hard time believing this is exactly who they are. They are this terrible, and they're never going to have any sort of excitement the rest of the way. It's got to be coming at some point soon, can it not?
I would hope so.
No.
I guess that's what we have to say.
But you're right. When a team is going poorly, you can never see how they could possibly not. And then sometimes they do. And, they're going to have a good stretch. And I don't know. The question is that
When?
stretch 20-5, or is that stretch 12-7? And if it's 12-7, it doesn't matter. If it's 20-5, it does matter.
Yeah, it can swing. That'd be 50. You'd be over 500.
Yeah, right.
Let's start the 20-5 stretch tomorrow in Arlington. Stephen Kolek is on the mound, who's probably the hottest pitcher. The ace of the staff, or maybe the number 2 behind Waka. But we'll see what happens. Might go over some of those pitching matchups and more Royals talk right after this break.
All right. Back in high school.
Not for me.
That's what it feels like. Who is this?
Yeah, well, who's
Tiffany.
saying
This is
Yeah,
this is off
Tiffany.
Matt Derrick's playlist.
Oh, I like that.
Oh, this is Tiffany.
Well, we got about 5 minutes
She's
to
in a-
go
in a
here.
shopping
We
mall
bash
somewhere.
Matt Derrick while we're here.
Well, we got 5 minutes. So.
Let's do it. He is the worst poker. No, I'm just kidding.
But we're wrapping
Better
things
than a
up
bad
here
card player.
with David Lesky. Royals are off tonight. I think everybody needs that. I think just a refreshing inhale, exhale, try to go win a game tomorrow. But I'm hoping it'll be enjoyable because we'll get to see Stephen Kolek. They call him the ace.
Bad news. I just checked the scores. The off day is up 3-0. Unfortunately.
Anybody getting hot in the pen?
No.
No.
Nope.
Okay. Well, I would say this when it comes to where a team is at that has expectations. They clearly are nowhere close to where they want to be. And, Lesky, oftentimes from a spectator's point of view, baseball's an except for today, but an everyday thing where we get so emotional. I've always said that baseball's not a sport for very emotional people because you lose a game and that's the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. I don't know how I'll ever recover. And they play tomorrow and you watch the same game. One of my buddies who did play baseball has one of my favorite quotes of, that's the worst loss I've ever seen in my life until the next one. And that's the way it feels all the time. It's that, the loss to the Yankees, that's the worst. And then you see 15-1. It's like, well, that didn't feel very good either. How do you evaluate how this coaching staff, these players are handling it? Because this goes back to 2024. When they'd have a bad loss, they would respond well. I remember one specific game against Milwaukee where they blew the game up by 3. There was the go-ahead home run. MacArthur was up. They had
Willie
2 outs.
Adames.
Willie Adames.
Yep.
Nobody was on. And everybody's going, how do you recover? And they won the series after. They went. Yep. They won game 2.
I
they
think
won
that was
game
the
3.
start of an 8-game winning streak.
Yes. The
next day, I believe.
And they had some dramatic wins. Seattle that year, down 7. Nobody in that clubhouse was like, oh, yeah, now no, it was just we have to play tomorrow.
Yep.
We have to win the series now. And that's why I just don't think it's not changed. They care. They just show it differently than somebody snapping a bat in the dugout or a manager getting ejected. How do you see all of that type of stuff?
I think it goes back to 23 when Mac Quatrero would go to the podium every night and talk about today. And they made the T-shirts that said today. Mm-hmm. And I remember driving home from a game listening to him on the press conference and going, I can see why people are frustrated by this because he's just so calm. But
when you're losing 106.
When you're losing 106 games, and they were on pace for far more than that.
They don't care.
Before July or whatever it was. But that's a mindset you have to have in baseball because you're right. It's 162 games in 187 days now. And you can't get too high. You can't get too high after a win. You get an hour, 2 hours. You can't get too low after a loss. It's easy, though, when you lose 3 in a row, 4 in a row, 5 in a row. When you're outscored 50-10 in a season series, it's very easy to get low. I think you need that even keel. And I remember I wrote this in 2023, and I got lambasted for it. But I was impressed by the resiliency and the lack of quit. And then the White Sox in 24, I think, kind of proved me right, while the Royals also proved me right. But they quit. The White Sox quit in 24.
For sure.
They did. They 100% quit on that season, and that's how you lose 121 games. And the Royals in 23 never did that. And I'm not saying you get extra points for doing your job, but I thought that was noteworthy at least. And then you saw it in 24 and last year even. I mean, they were 40-47 on July 1st or whatever date it was, and they finished 82-80. And at one point last year they were 8-14, then they were 24-16, and then at one point this year they were 7-16, then they were 19-21. Now they've fallen on hard times again, but I think that their track record of responding is a positive for the entire leadership, player and coaching staff.
And I think fans, we mentioned this in the first hour, when the team isn't in any sport, when the offense isn't performing, it looks like they have no energy.
Yep.
Because it's really hard to show energy in a baseball game if you're hitting and you're just running down to first base and then turning right all night long.
Oh, look how hard he ran.
Wow.
Yeah, I also I remember people getting mad at Lorenzo Cain for hitting a ground ball to short and not running.
Yep.
It's like, okay, he's playing 162 games. Him hustling down the first base line and an 8-1 game and risking injury is not what I want.
If he blows out a hammy, what do you?
Is there anybody that's not a rookie that runs a hard 90, like when a ground ball is hit to second?
Quit.
Yeah.
He's the only one.
Okay, he's the one guy who can beat that.
And I guess Caglione's not technically a rookie.
Ball.
He does. Caglione busts it. I'll tell you.
That's true. There are instances where it matters to me. There's some that it does not. Lesky, thanks so much for your time.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Listen to Todd Lebo tomorrow.